I'm sorry, the podcast didn't hear you say that. What did you just ask me?
I said, so, how was your week?
Oh, I'm glad you cleared your throat. Now they'll be able to fully understand you.
I'm sorry, I had some meatball pizza earlier. I
should do the same thing. All right. So, my week.
I'm not done. All right, now I'm done.
Oh, now that you mentioned, I got a little more too. Okay, all right. I think we got them all. You got any more? Good?
No, I'm good.
Okay. We like to have fun here. So, my week. So I have something. I'll kind of like do a little housekeeping with the channel and everything before we get into the actual like what I did. But I just want to let everyone know that I had to make the unfortunate decision to decide to cut my playthrough of The Last of Us Part 2. I'm unfortunately, this is not a joke. I'm not going to... Yes, I'm very sorry for everyone, including Mike, who was looking forward to the rest of those parts. I have just been very busy, mostly with like a lot of other stuff and trying to balance my time well, but I just really don't have time to go through and make the little like animated bits of the episodes that I meant, and it would just be weirdly segmented if I would just try to continue with the Let's Plays that I had, because like I mentioned, I lost probably a 3 or 4 hour chunk of gameplay, so I had to make the tough decision to just set sail, or sunset, that's the word, to the series, unfortunately. I do plan on some point going back to complete that because I was really enjoying it. I do really like The Last of Us Part 2. I'm just sorry to inform everyone that that is going to be going away. And eventually, I think I mentioned it last week, but I do plan to do another Let's Play of Super Mario 64 from the All-Star Collection. That should be going up very soon. I'll get into it here, but there was this whole thing with that and like one of the Luigi's Mansion 3 chunks. This is very behind scenes stuff, but I had to like re-render all the video files because when I would put them into my editing software, it would only be like a 5-second chunk, even though it's a 2 to 3 hour long video clip in some cases. So I had to, scour the internet and find a good like video rendering software, which I did, and it was free and it works really well. And now I need to go through and, now start actually making the content. Although it did this weird thing on my first chunk of Super Mario 64 gameplay, which I need to look into more, where it kind of like zoomed in on the gameplay, and it didn't do that with Luigi's Mansion 3, and I think that's just because, like I talked about this last week, the aspect ratio when you play Super Mario 64 and All-Star and 3D All-Stars, it's not widescreened. It is still like 8:4 or whatever that ratio is called. So it kind of like zoomed in on my gameplay, which is a little weird. Not that it looks that bad, but I'm going to try to make it look like, have it be the actual aspect ratio that I recorded next time, but I don't think you guys should notice anything. But besides that, there's something that I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about, and this is kind of relating to like the channel and Let's Plays and streaming and stuff like that. And I've kind of had this weird thing over the past, like, I want to say month, where I don't want to necessarily say I'm not interested in video games, but I've kind of lost like a little bit of that love. Now, I still enjoy following the news, watching streams, and I still play video games. I just feel like I'm not playing as much video games as I did a few years ago or throughout my life. So I don't really know what the cause of this is. I think it has something to do with whenever a game comes along and I'm like, oh, I would love to play like a brand new game that comes out. I kind of get the struggle where I'm like, well, do I need to do something with this game that I just bought? Like, do I want to Let's Play it? Do I want to stream it? And then I kind of always get lost and I'm like, well, now I don't know what to do with this game, and just either try to go back to things I was playing before or just play a multiplayer game that's kind of like safe, because it's like, well, I'm not really making any progress in a multiplayer game. It's kind of just, a cycle, or it's always there or something. So I don't really know what this has to do with anything. I'm not like necessarily being like, hey, I'm stopping making videos or I'm stopping the podcast or anything like that. I'm just kind of rambling that I've just been having these thoughts recently, and I'm not necessarily sure why. It's probably just because I'm getting older and have been playing video games for over 10 plus years at this point. Maybe I just need to take a break. I don't know.
It's funny that you say that, Corey. I think it's just because you're getting older and responsibilities kick in. I mean, I love games too, but I definitely can't play them as often as I used to. It's just not a possibility.
And it's
I mean,
oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, and I know, like you're not, you still have yet to get like your own. I mean, you have your own place with Megan, obviously, but like when you start going a little bit further into your life with Megan,
exactly. Yep.
It's just I hate saying it, but like even I've come to the realization that sometimes I just gotta put games to the side. Like even Amanda says, like she said this not that long ago. Like I really don't see you playing games that much anymore. I'm like, well, yeah, I really can't. Like I'll play it, when I'm doing stuff with Corey. And just recently, I started playing Ocarina of Time again. And but like besides that, like Amanda says, yeah, like I never really see you playing games at all. Even like when we were dating, and I said, yeah, well, when we were dating and you were not living with me, I would play, at night before I go to bed. But even then, it was just, I didn't play as much because I would rather spend time with you or do other things. It's just just adulthood.
You hit the nail on the head, Mike. Like I think that's just the thing. It's like whenever my girlfriend Megan is around, I'm always just like, yeah, I want to do something with her. And recently, we've even been playing a lot of games, and kind of even saying or tying to what you were saying about Ocarina of Time. I feel like I've kind of fallen out a little bit of being like a modern gamer or like right on the deadline when a game comes out. And I'm kind of like almost like looking at my collection being like, I would love to go back and play some of these Kingdom Hearts games, or I would love to go back and like play through one of the Dark Souls games again. Or I'm going to talk about this later, but this weekend, me and my girlfriend together like have been couch co-oping, well, more or less just passing the controller back and forth, but we've been playing Dead Rising 2, and we've been both really enjoying that. And that's a 10+ year old game, but it's like it's comfort food, going back to it. It's so fun. We're joking about the things that happen in the game because it's kind of like goofy, and it's a really fun experience. And I think that's kind of it. It's like I enjoy now doing more stuff with her rather than just being like, okay, Megan, I guess you can figure out what you're going to do for the next like 2 or 3 hours. I'm just going to play video games. And that's another thing I wanted to bring up is I definitely also can't play games as long as I used to be. Like I used to be able to marathon games for like a solid 3 to 4 hours. I'd say that's probably my limit now. And if I play a game for 3 to 4 hours in one day, I'm probably not playing any more games.
Yeah, because like you just can't, because like you have to get other things done.
Exactly.
Like I've been trying to play most of my games like for level with me on Saturdays, like during like the afternoon, because usually Amanda works on weekends, so I can usually, and now with the puppy especially, again another priority. But I can have him with me while I play some games and while I record the games for a level with me. But then besides that, I really just don't have a lot of time like by myself, and that's the biggest thing. Like if I was single, it'd be a whole different story.
Right.
And I think that's one of the big... I'm not trying to say this to all the other gamers out there who don't have a significant other, but I'm being very serious that when you're single, you have so much free time on your hands. Like, so much free time. Compared to when you have a significant other that you want to spend that time with, Or even if you are just doing something on your own, you don't want them to feel excluded.
You heard it here first, gamers. Don't get a relationship. Stay single. Just plow through games, Why spend time with whoever when you can spend time with Cloud and go defeat Sephiroth? Or
who needs affection when you have Cloud?
When you can get those sweet crowns and Fall Guys.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm glad you're kind of giving me this insight because you're kind of right. Like I guess that is just getting older. But by no means am I saying I don't want to do YouTube or I don't want to do Twitch. I'm just kind of like trying to figure out what's the best thing I can do in this situation I'm having. And I just wanted to share it with y'all because, it's kind of like, I guess, our journey together, if you will.
Yeah. If I may just chime in, I think a break wouldn't hurt. Because that's kind of like what I was talking about, like how my weekends are where I play my games. So it's kind of like something to look forward to.
And I can definitely see that, yeah.
Yeah, it makes it more enjoyable because Also, again, I'm kind of rambling here, but even like when you're talking about how you wanted to look back at your library and maybe replay some of your old games, I've come to that I've come to that point because obviously all I have right now is my Switch, and I know there's plenty of people out there who like whenever the new console comes out, regardless of whether who it is, they just want the latest and greatest system to play all the games that they want. And hey, more power to you. But I realized, like, despite the fact that I would love to play Cyberpunk, I would love to play the Last of Us, I would love to play Halo, the new Halo game. I just really don't see myself not only just spending the money for these consoles and these games. I think like I've come to the point where I'm fine with my Switch because I'm a big time Nintendo fan anyway. Like I like to support them, and when the new games come out, I'll play them as I can, and I could always play over my brother's house, or even just talk to you and get some insight on some of the other new games out there, the gaming news.
Right.
That's kind of where I get my exposure. But yeah, I've always felt like I can always just go back to replay my old games, and maybe that's just because I'm an old school '90s kid. But I even for the sake of level with me, I love going back and replaying all these Super Nintendo and GBA games for our listeners and viewers. It's just that I truly do enjoy doing that. I know you might think, oh, but you played the game 5 times, or oh, why are you playing this GBA game for the very first time? It doesn't matter. It's just fun compared to trying to play countless hours of all these newer modern games, which will require you to dedicate that many hours of your life just to play.
I was gonna say. That's another big thing too. It's gosh, you need 30 hours to beat one game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Breath of the Wild is probably gonna be the next big game that I'm gonna probably lose all of my free time to, But besides that, I really and all the other games I'm looking forward to. Yeah, I can play an hour here and there, and maybe beat those games in a few weeks. But those big kind of games, the big FPS game, not FPS, first person explorer games, like Red Dead, Breath of the Wild, Cyberpunk, Fallout, all these big games, they're the games that I don't know how people can beat them, beat them all in a timely manner, unless that's all you do. And again, if you have the time to do it, more power to you. But I'm just not one of those people, and I think you're starting to realize that you're also not one of those people.
Yeah. And I mean, to kind of follow up on your point, I'm not even this year probably going to get a new console. I'll probably get one next year. I really have no need. I have plenty of games to play now, and there's still a lot of games I want to get on the PS4 and my Switch, that are out already. So I have no need to even buy a new console right now.
I mean, at this point, you're better off just waiting, waiting until next year anyway, when they get restocked and maybe a little bit
more
cheaper
games. And there's that.
That too, yeah. Because right now the launch windows for both consoles aren't really impressive anyway. So it's
yeah, I agree.
I remember when I got the Wii U, I think I got it pretty early to launch. So oh wow, the Wii U's out, and I'm like, oh wow, I have Pikmin 3, which I loved, but I was like, okay, all I have is Pikmin 3.
You're telling me you don't want to play Zombie U?
Actually, that game looked pretty good. I regret not giving that game a shot.
It was interesting. I played a good 2 or 3 hours of it. I didn't hate it, but I don't know.
That was Ubisoft, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty ambitious title to just give a zombie exclusive to the Wii. Or the Wii U. That was pretty ambitious in my opinion.
And it looked pretty well in the Wii U.
Yeah, it did.
The Wii U was very interesting at launch because it was actually up to par with the 360 and the PS3. So you actually got a couple of those cross-platform games, the new Call of Duties were coming out on the Wii U, and there were Mass Effect 3 came out on the Wii U.
Yeah, I would say the Wii U was kind of like when the Wii was out, and the Wii would get the third-party games, but they got a port that required work to make it run on the Wii because it had worse. It was less powerful. The Wii U is kind of very similar, but I realized that the Wii U is kind of if you want to use numbers, you can say the GameCube, the PS2, and the Xbox were all relatively the same power, and let's just say they were a 3, and then the 360 and the PS3 came out, and they were 4s, but the Wii was a 3.5.
Yeah,
and then the Xbox One, PS5 were 5s. And the Wii U was a 4.5. So it was right behind them. It wasn't it was that It wasn't like it was bad. It was still an HD console. It was just not as powerful as them, but it was more powerful than the 360 and the PS3. So it was better hardware. But Nintendo obviously just doesn't focus on horsepower. They focus more on the gameplay, for better or for worse.
I remember when I played like a lot of the Nintendo Wii or the Nintendo first party games on the Wii U, like a lot of those games really blew me away because the Wii like didn't even have those HD graphics because it was still 480p. So when I saw like Wind Waker HD, I was like, "Oh my god, this game is beautiful."
Oh yeah, even Twilight Princess HD, like I was blown away. Even those games, like the games look good. Like the games that utilize the Wii's power, like Twilight Princess, Super Smash Brothers, for example, even Metroid Prime 3, even Other M, like all those. I mean, I'm just naming some games I have, but like these games actually looked really good on the Wii. Mario Galaxy looked incredible as well. Mario Galaxy 2 looked incredible. It's just that if you look closer, you can kind of see like the jagged edges. You could kind of see like the sharpness. You couldn't quite get like that, or even like the HD visuals, like the colors and like those like bloom effects. Yeah, you couldn't get those. But then once the Wii U came out, it was like, oh, cool. It was all right, cool. Now they can finally achieve these visuals.
Yeah. But yes, I don't know. My gaming habits might be changing. We'll see. But besides that, let's get on to things I actually did this week. So on Friday, I actually came home a little bit earlier because I was feeling a little under the weather. I think it was just from something I ate, though. I wasn't like
the Rona.
No, it wasn't the Rona. It was literally like, yeah, I wasn't. I mean, I was worried it could have been that, so I was like, I just got to go home. I don't want to like spread whatever this is, but it wasn't the Rona. So don't worry, guys. I don't have the Rona. Didn't catch that Pokemon yet. But yeah, later in the evening, I was like, kind of, like Megan, she didn't at work that day, and I'm like, I don't know if we should go out because like I don't know if I want to spread anything that I have, but she was like. She kind of had like similar things the day before, and we kind of thought like it was from something we ate. So we're just like, okay, we're not gonna spread it. We'll be okay. And we wear masks everywhere we go and everything like that. But anyways, we were like, oh, it's a nice like fall evening. Why don't we go, do a fall activity? Because my girlfriend also usually works on the weekends. So I'm like, well, we should make the most of these days off. Like, it is October. We gotta do some spooky things or some. Corn maze or whatever, and that is what we ended up trying to do. We wanted to go do a corn maze, and when we got there probably at about like 7 p.m., 7:30 at night, and it was just way too cold. We didn't expect it to be as cold as it is. It's been getting surprisingly cold here in Pennsylvania this early. Like usually I feel like our falls are a bit warmer, but yeah, it's like at nights it gets to like in the low 50s, maybe the high 40s. It's been getting quite frigid, and we were just a little like underdressed. So I'm like, hey, you know what? I know we drove like an hour out of the way to this corn maze, but it's okay. It's just too cold. I don't want us to be uncomfortable. It's a big corn maze, so we're gonna have to be walking around constantly. I'm like, we'll just come back another time. It's okay. Luckily, though, we did end up stopping at this ice cream place we love on the way back that was kind of close to it.
Ooh.
This weekend was like a milkshake diet for me. I swear I had like a milkshake every day. But I had a pumpkin cheesecake milkshake. Chef's kiss. It was so good. I'm still thinking about it.
That sounds amazing.
So
a pumpkin cheesecake milkshake.
So it's just like a pumpkin ice cream and pieces of cheesecake like inside. And then they blend it together. The thing that stands out about this ice cream, and this place is very good. It's called Fox Meadows Creamery. I forget what part of Pennsylvania it's in, but it's very, very good. And they make all their ice cream homemade. And literally, the pieces of cheesecake in there, you can tell that these are fresh pieces. Like they make the cheesecake and actually dice it up. It's not that generic like cheesecake balls or squares that you find in like anywhere else. Like you bite into the cheesecake chunks and you can feel the texture of the graham cracker and taste like the little bit of butter that they use to like make that crumb, like the crust or whatever. And it's nice. Like, oh my God, this is just heaven in a straw. Oh, But besides that, we also ended up watching a few movies, which I'll talk about later. Saturday night, we ended up going. This was also spontaneous. I bought the tickets for this Friday night after we came home from the ice cream. We went to a comedy show in Royersford, PA. This comedy club is called Soul Joe's Comedy Club, I think. But it was really cool. Basically, what they did is because, of the coronavirus, they can't really allow too many people inside, like, tight little rooms, like a comedy club. Comedy clubs are essentially almost like a bar, for those of you who don't know. Or sometimes like a theater, but they don't want to, pack too many people in together. So they actually made like this field or like a parking lot into this like makeshift fake little beach. So there's just like a big lot full of sand, and it's basically bring your own chair, bring your own beer, pretty much bring whatever you want. I definitely could tell there was other things in the crowd, but it was really fun. We got there, we set up.
Is that oregano in your hand, sir?
It was dark out. I couldn't tell what was around me.
Pass that oregano over. I need some for my meatball pizza.
Yes. I did smell pizza while we were there, and we were getting hungry. But yeah, it was a great time. We found our seats. We got pretty good ones, and everyone was like distance, so we all had a lot of space. We weren't like cramped next to each other, and like I said, we brung our own like chairs. And as we talked about before, it was cold the night before, so we're like, all right, well, now we can actually dress appropriately, and we even brought a blanket and like bundled up. But yeah, the show was great. It was two of my favorite comedians, Big J Okerson and Louis J Gomez. They're kind of from like the New York area, but I know Big J originated in Philly, so I do kind of appreciate that. But they were hilarious. It was a great night. And something that I got to shout out. This is big East Coast vibes, but Big J was talking about how he loves Wawa, and of course, then me and my girlfriend were like, "All right, we're definitely stopping at Wawa on the way back. We gotta get Wawa food." We got a smorgasbord. We got mac and cheese. We got sandwiches. We got chips. Oh my goodness! It was like 11 p.m. We didn't care.
Don't you love those good Wawa runs?
Exactly.
Can't beat them.
Yes, it's an experience. Those of y'all who don't know what Wawa is, you're missing out. And then last but not least, we on Sunday, we ended up taking a little trip to Hershey, Pennsylvania. It's not too far from us. We do this every once in a while. We love Hershey, me and my girlfriend. We got a very lovely breakfast, and then we ended up going into the main part of Chocolate World. There's like a amusement park, and there's also like a little gift shop and a ride. I think I've talked about it before. The things of note is I ended up getting some of their new Halloween candy. You can probably just find this in the store. But they have these vampire Hershey Kisses. So they're not vampire flavored, don't worry. They are full of this red blood-looking gel, and it is strawberry flavored. So it's essentially a chocolate-covered strawberry flavor.
Oh, okay.
And when I gotta shout out to their like gel or whatever you call the inside of it, because it looks really cool. Like it's this bright fluorescent red coloring. I kind of love it. Also, they taste really good. They're very good. Then I also got a bag of pumpkin pie Kit Kats. Now these are the little individual wrapped Kit Kats, so they're like the size of your pinky. They're not too big, and you eat one at a time. These things are okay. My only complaint is whenever I eat one of these, it makes me think of pumpkin spice candles, which is a little unpleasant. But the flavor is still kind of good, and it's got that nice crunch of the Kit Kat. If I'd have to rate each of these, I'd give the Kisses like a 4 out of 5. I'd give these Kit Kats like maybe like a 2 out of 5. It was okay.
Okay.
And then we kind of just hung out in the hotels. We like to go visit them. They have like nice like lobbies, and there's like little gift shops and restaurants in there. And in the one hotel, I got another milkshake. I got a caramel apple milkshake, and I actually posted a picture of this on the Instagram if you guys want to go check it out. It was very good. I would definitely say the pumpkin pie cheesecake or the pumpkin cheesecake milkshake was better, but this one was also very good. Had that nice like caramel drizzle on the sides. It had like a good appley caramel flavor. Oh, it's a great day. I had a great weekend with my girlfriend. That's pretty much all I did this weekend. What about you, Mike? Did you do anything special?
Well, I didn't have as many milkshakes as you did. Man, you weren't kidding with it.
No. I need to do a lot of workouts now.
Let me see. Well, we did have a bit of a revelation. Our little puppy is now perfectly potty trained for the most part. I better knock on wood before I jinx myself. But we have now got to the point where
If
we
it's
just want to.
yellow, leave it mellow, and if it's brown, flush it down. That's what you taught him, right?
I was gonna say, like, if it's brown, stomp it out. That's what I do. That's pretty gross.
The shower is the Okay, never mind.
Ew. That means you've
I'm
done
not even
before.
going there. I'm not even going there.
Oh gosh. But yeah, it was kind of a rough week because even though we have him, like, properly potty trained for the most part, he's still getting used to being home by himself. And but it's been fun. He's still really good, lovable. Yeah, he's been good. Besides that, I've been doing a lot of stuff with my eBays. Just buying and selling. Had a couple really good pickups for my personal collection and maybe some investment opportunities. Again, for those of you who are fans of mine and also like collectibles, and I know Corey has dabbled in that in the past. Like, I got some really cool vintage Pokemon packs, and I did get a Ultimate Rare, which is like one of the more higher rarities for Yu-Gi-Oh cards of an old school card. And I might be getting another PSA order together, and that's always exciting for me. Just getting like all these cards together and sending them out to get graded. I don't know. I kind of just want to get one of those orders done because I also want to. I have some cards that I want to get graded just for the purpose of selling. So that'll just be a little way for me to pay for the grading and pay for all the other cards that I got and maybe make some money on the side. So that's kind of like the goal right there.
So I gotta ask you a question. I saw on your Instagram you were posting a lot about that. Like, is it like the oh my god, what's it called? The Gigantamax of the Charizard card, and you're like,
yes.
Oh no, if this is true, my wallets or the stocks are going down or whatever. Can you kind of elaborate on that? Because I was seeing that and I'm like, oh no, is this like getting reprinted or what?
Oh no. It's basically so in modern Pokemon there was the there were two new Charizards printed. There was what's called the Hyper Rare, which they're full arts and they're all rainbow colored, and they're very valuable and for the most part they're valuable. But there was a Charizard version, and of course the Charizard version was worth a couple $100, and even now it's like worth several hundred. Then there was a very special pack that came out called Hidden Fates, and it was like one of the most popular sets of all time. Because for anybody who knows Pokemon, there's like the shiny variants of Pokemon that are like really hard to come by. They actually had shiny prints of cards in this set, and there was a shiny Charizard. It was basically the exact same art as the Hyper Rare, but this one was like the shiny version, had a really nice little background, and the Charizard was black. I identified that it was the shiny version. And that card also went for stuff. There was, sorry, Corey. I think I'm like cutting in and out on the voice thing.
Oh no, it's okay.
So then there was another set that came out just recently, and it was called Darkness Ablaze. And it was like a main Gigantamax version of Charizard. And so that was kind of cool, even though it wasn't like a super high rarity. It was just, oh look, here's the very first time we're getting a Gigantamax Charizard Pokemon. And even that card went for over $100. I think even now it still goes for like $95, which is pretty crazy for like a card that's like not a hyper rare, not like a special, like I think they're called like ultra rare, like the full art ultra rares. They kind of remind me of ultimate rares from Yu-Gi-Oh, because they have like a felty feel to them.
Yeah.
So that came out.
Okay.
Yeah. And that came out, and then there was like a shadow drop for this new set called Champion's Path, and that's the set that like just recently came out. And it's not a main core booster set; it's just like it's very similar to that Hidden Fates set. And and I forgot to mention, Hidden Fates was so popular, but you couldn't buy a booster box of it. It was only available in like these special like promotional boxes that you get like at Target and Walmart, or other game stores, Barnes and Noble. So you could basically, if you buy like a sealed product, you could only buy like anywhere between like 4 to 10 packs at a time. That's kind of how like their boxes work. So there weren't many packs to go around.
Right. Okay.
And Champions Path was following a very similar formula where like, okay, like 10 pack boxes and like the other like boxes you get like a Target at Walmart. And the reason why this set was good was because they reprinted the Gigantamax Charizard, but in the hyper rare version. So he was like the rainbow version, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, we have to get it!" And then they said, "Here, not all, but in the 10-pack boxes, which are called the Elite Trainer boxes, we're going to provide you a card." And this promo card was like full art. It was like that ultra rare, like felty, like rarity. It looks pretty cool. And so those are going anywhere between like $25 to $40 on their own. They were $40 when they first came out. So basically, if you bought that box at retail price of $40, you basically get your money back from that promo alone, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And then they announced, by the way, that promo is also printed in that set, Champions Path, as a shiny version. So once again, everyone's like, oh my gosh, now there's 2 Charizards to go after. So this set was very popular, sold out immediately. Like the products are all incredibly expensive. Everyone just trying to get the shiny Charizard and the hyper rare Gigantamax Charizard.
Wow, okay.
And then just a couple days ago, there was a thing announced that Japan is making another set. We don't know what kind it is, but now there is the shiny Gigantamax Charizard. And that's why I'm like, my God, they just won't stop making Charizards that are all going for several $100s a piece. So
they know how to get them, Mike.
They do.
They know how to put the carrot and then just paint the carrot a different color.
Yeah, I mean, exactly it. Yeah. It's kind of like, you know that meme where the guy's walking, but he looks over at this other girl going, ooh, and like the other girl, and then his girlfriend. Yeah, well, that's what everyone has all the previous Charizard cards on his girlfriend, and then there's the shiny Gigantamax on, and it's like, yeah, that's all the Pokemon collectors right now. It's pretty funny.
That is funny.
So that's why I put that on there. I'm just like, man, these people's wallets are gonna be hurting because
they still have a lot of their shiny dragon. Oh wait,
yeah, they will.
Dragon.
No, but yeah, like. Anyway.
Oh, sorry, it was cutting out a little bit again.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, but history does show that people love Charizard, and he always retains value. So people want to get them now.
When are they gonna make like 16 different versions of Blastoise? Come on. Or maybe Venusaur.
Venusaur was in the Champions Path box, but he wasn't given any like crazy high rarities.
Wow.
But Blastoise was not in it at all, which is
wow.
Really yeah, it's kind of like in the video game Sword and Shield. Everyone's like, why? Like, of course, Charizard's in there because everyone loves Charizard, but Blastoise and Venusaur to get any love? Like, yes, I know they're in the DLC packs, but the point is like,
yeah, not the base game.
Yeah, they just focus on Charizard because he's the most popular. Like, I get it, but I'm a Blastoise fan, so
that kind of makes me mad, and I'm a Charizard man. Like, they should have all like equal. Yeah, it shouldn't be just one. I mean, you can even look at Smash. Like in the Wii U version, it was just Charizard, you know, because they had to get rid of Pokemon Trainer.
Yeah. I mean, granted, they had Squirtle and Ivysaur. I think they wanted to change it up a little bit, but then in Smash 4, it was just Charizard because he's all that mattered.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right. With that note, are you ready to get started with the podcast?
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done losing my mind over Pokemon right now.
Yeah, maybe next podcast we can continue that.
Sure.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Level With Me podcast, episode 67. I'm one of your hosts, Game Bro Corey, and I am once again joined by my co-host, Mike, aka The Collector's Vault. How you doing today, Mike?
Doing pretty good, Corey. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Level With Me. I am ready to talk about some video game news. I'm ready to talk about some games we've been playing. Gosh, where can we begin?
Oh, Mike. Well, I'm just going to let you and all the listeners in on a heads up that this was a very light news week. There are some very cool news stories here, but we're probably going to get through the news relatively quickly here because, like I said, not too much announced this week. But right off the gate, we have a not video game related story, but I figured it's something we can talk about. So, in episodes past, we've talked about a lot of the live action Disney remakes or whatever you want to call them. Well, yeah. Disney is quadrupling down on them and has announced many, many, many more. And we can kind of just skim the list here that they've confirmed. There's also brief descriptions, maybe just give our own opinions on if these are going to work or if they're going to be interesting. So, the first story is about Mulan. That's out there. I hear... Did we talk about this? I hear negative things. I heard that it wasn't that great.
Yeah, I think we did touch base on the Mulan movie briefly. And it definitely had a lot of negative reviews.
I will watch it when it's free.
Yeah. I think that's kind of... Basically, I didn't want to go too harsh on it, but we just said it's definitely not... To many people, it's not worth paying the $30 for it. You just wait for it to come out and then watch it.
So there are 16... different movies on here, I believe, in this little IGN list slideshow type thing. So the first one after Mulan is Cruella, and it kind of says it's inspired a little bit like the Maleficent movies, where instead of focusing on the original story, it takes more of the light on the villain. And I think this could be interesting. Also, it has Emma Stone as Cruella de Vil. That's
I was gonna say, for a second there, I wasn't sure if that was Emma Stone or if that was Margot Robbie for a second. I couldn't tell.
They might have my money there. I do love me Emma Stone.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I did 101 Dalmatians back in the day. I don't really remember the live action one though. I know they did 1 or 2 live action 101 Dalmatians. I need to rewatch them.
I definitely watched them. It's been years since I watched the cartoon a few months ago with Amanda, but the live action ones, they kind of escape me.
So for those of you who are interested in this comes out May 28th, 2021. I think all these movies should have a big asterisk next to them, considering the state of movies now. Who knows? They're far away, but we'll see. Next up, we have The Little Mermaid. This one's kind of interesting, and I had to point this out to my girlfriend because Lin-Manuel Miranda, the main guy behind Hamilton and many other Broadway plays, is actually going to help create this. And I believe he's going to produce and make the songs in this movie, which I think is really cool. That definitely, brings more interest into this than I would have before. This one's going to be weird, too, because it's kind of going to be almost like The Lion King, where I would think most of this is just CG,
Oh, yeah, I would assume most of Ariel's, fish friends would be CG, and I don't know, let me see this. Because it has some interesting casting choices. It seems like we have Halle Berry as Ariel.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and Melissa McCarthy, I'm guessing, is going to be Ursula. So maybe they're going to be doing half CGI, half, or basically what they do is that, they just edit around the actual live action. But, oh, wait a minute. Wasn't this already confirmed a while ago?
Yeah, this isn't technically new.
Okay, because I remember, I remember there was a big, just hear me out, people. I remember there being a big controversy over a woman of darker complexion playing Ariel. And I don't remember it being Halle Berry, so maybe unless they're doing it again, where they're having someone else who's basically having a non-white actress play Ariel. If they are doing it a second time, I wonder if there's going to be another Outlash or whatever.
I could see it with all these interesting cast choices that this could actually be maybe a slightly different movie. Maybe they're actually going to make it its own thing, which I could be down with. Yeah. But that seems cool. When's the date on that? It's slated to begin production April 2020. So that's one been in
the works.
Yeah, that one's on hiatus right now, it says. The Jungle Book 2, personally, we can just skip this. I had no interest in the first live-action Jungle Book. I like the cartoon, but do you have any interest in this one?
No, I heard most people found it to be kind of it was either people were terrified of Ka, the snake, and the rest of people thought it was kind of stupid. I didn't see. What's funny, there were 2 live action Jungle Books that came out in the
That's
last
right.
like 5 years.
Yeah.
So I didn't
One
see
was
either
Disney,
one.
one wasn't.
Yeah, I didn't see either one of them, but whatever.
So this one's kind of weird. Charming. Variety reports that the Wonder writer/director Steven Chbosky was signed on to write and potentially direct Charming, a new take on the Prince Charming character. That could be interesting. That's literally it though. That's all. There's just another sentence about when they're going to start filming it. You know, not much to go off of that one.
I would say we'll see.
More information's required. Hunchback of Notre Dame. Everyone loves him. Okay, they're running out of ideas.
Yeah. To be fair, I do like that movie.
It is. It's surprisingly good.
Yeah, I rewatched it again. Like Amanda and I, like during the whole pandemic thing, we were like watching a lot of Disney Plus movies, and I have to say, by rewatching The Hunchback, I was really just surprised of just how good it was. So we'll see. Again, the live adaptations are always iffy.
I was gonna say it says Josh Gad is producing and maybe Quasimodo. I could see that.
Yeah, I can see him doing it. Again, probably gonna be a lot of CGI makeup to make him
definitely
look like the Hunchback, obviously. But this was interesting.
I was just gonna say that Lilo and Stitch. This one's weird to me because I remember when Lilo and Stitch came out when I was younger, so I don't necessarily think this is that old. But no, it's kind of old at this point.
Yeah, probably from 2001, maybe.
Yeah. Let's see here. Hybrid, a live action / CG hybrid. Well, of course it is. I mean, how are they going to make Stitch? Yeah. I honestly, I did really enjoy the first Lilo and Stitch. This could be interesting.
Yeah, I believe. We'll see. And look at this one. Wait, what is this?
Night of Bald Mountain. Disney seems disinterested in greenlighting another Fantasia sequel, but at least we're getting a remake of the iconic segment from the original Fantasia. Night of the Bald Mountain is being scripted by Matt Sazama and Burke Sharpless, and will reportedly apply the Maleficent treatment to Kernabog, the nocturnal demon summoning monster. Hopefully this remake will stick closer to the source material than 2010's The Sorcerer's Apprentice.
What in... I'm sorry, I've actually never seen either of the Fantasia movies, like the original and the remake in like Fantasia 2000, I think.
Yeah. So
I have no idea who this character is, but I am intrigued. This is
I remember this like segment because Fantasia is kind of almost like a anthology type movie where there's a bunch of little animations in it set to like classical music. And I remember watching this when I was younger, and it actually horrified me. It's very creepy and disturbing.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is definitely like a darker turn for Disney, and hey, I am all for it.
Also, just random tangent, but you actually do fight this character in Kingdom Hearts. He's a boss.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is he the guy from? Is he the guy from the very beginning of the game? That big like shadowy figure? Is that him?
No. He's like close to the end of the game. That boss. But yeah, that I agree with you. I like the more darker take on Disney stuff, so that could be interesting. Peter Pan and Wendy. I mean, it's self-explanatory. They're just remaking Peter Pan. What about Hook? That was a good movie.
I was gonna say it can't beat Hook. I'm sorry.
I need to go rewatch Hook. It's been a while since I watched that.
Yeah, make sure you bring your tissues, man, because our boy Robin Williams is in that movie.
The cast for the film includes Jude Law as Captain Hook, Yara Shahidi as Tinkerbell, Alexander Mullany as Peter Pan, and Ever Anderson as Wendy.
Unfortunately, I only know Jude Law. Other actors and actresses.
I need to search him. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, this is an interesting pick. I think that could work. See, it's so hard with a lot of these live action movies to be like, oh, I'd watch that, or oh, I'd give it a C, because it's like I kind of got to see what they're going for, because we've talked about this, but yeah, like some of them are just a scene for scene remake, and then other ones either will be almost like a sequel or do their own thing, and those are ones that are kind of like more interesting.
Yeah, like that's why I was a little bummed with when I watched The Lion King. I mean, I was more concerned about the animation because, again, even though it looked incredible, I just don't think it worked well for the movie and the characters. But when I watched it, I'm like, this is just they're just remaking the movie like scene by scene, pretty much. Like very little of it deviated from the original movie. So I feel like movies like I think we mentioned before, like Beauty and the Beast, although obviously had a lot in common, there were a lot of deviations where like they included things that we didn't see in the original, and different dialogues from different characters, even some new characters. And I'm like, all right, cool. This is actually like an actual artist being like, and I do think that movie directors can be considered the artists. This is their interpretation of that story, and that's what I like seeing. I don't like someone saying, "I'm just going to redo it." Like,
I agree. Yeah. So this one's interesting. Pinocchio. Pinocchio is one of the most horrifying Disney movies. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yeah, I had a conversation again at work about this. We're like, this actually is a really horrifying story, and like, especially with like the island where kids get kidnapped and everything.
Yes,
it's terrifying. It's as a kid, I don't know why I watched this movie. I'd be like hiding under the covers, like I don't want Stromboli to get me. And yes, the villain's name was Stromboli. People. That
being said, the most interesting thing about this is Tom Hanks might be playing Geppetto. I like that Tom Hanks. He's a good actor. That's all we know. That's all we know.
But who's playing Jiminy Cricket? That's what I want to know.
It's actually me. Oh crap! I might have broke my terms of service. Damn it.
Oh well.
I was supposed to play. Is void. I was supposed to play Jiminy Cricket, but not anymore. Snow White, also a pretty terrifying movie. Let's see, what do they got here on us? Spider-Man. Who's directing and who's acting? Disney is also apparently developing a spin-off called Rose Red, which will focus on Snow White's sister joining forces with the dwarves to break her curse. What? I think
it sounds different. Ooh, I like this one.
I also really like this one. The Sword and the Stone. This is a very underrated Disney movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big nerd again, just like for the Arthurian legend, so I've always liked stuff. So
this is where this gets a little interesting. Game of Thrones' Brian Cogman has been charged with writing the screenplay, which we assume will maintain a lighter, more playful take on the story of Arthur's ascension to the throne. But that could mean it could be slightly darker.
I'm just waiting for the very first scene to be like the butcher is just getting beheaded by like some or something like that. I don't know, some crazy.
I saw the White Walkers. I seen them. Sorry, everyone. I spoiled the first episode of Game of Thrones.
God, don't even bother watching it now, people.
Oh, and you can tell this is a very underrated Disney movie because it will be coming to Disney Plus's streaming service. It won't be in theaters. Go figure.
Oh, then it's not a high grade movie.
It's great. It's a great movie.
No, the original, absolutely, yes.
Tinkerbell, I guess they're just doing a spin-off of the character. I mean, it's a very popular character. Let's see here. In addition to the Peter Pan remake, Disney's also developing a solo Tinkerbell movie. We don't know if the two projects are linked, but according to The Hollywood Reporter, it will play with the idea of the timeline of a well-known Peter Pan narrative. Okay. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Tinkerbell, but sure, why not? Some people are.
Ooh, this one I can get down with.
Yeah, I mean, it's got one of our favorite actors in it, Danny DeVito.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Hercules.
Hercules is a great movie.
It really is.
I'd be very curious to see what a live action version of Hercules would look like. This could actually be super cool if they make like a lot of those like Titans and there's like the what's the monster there in the corner? The Hydra.
The Hydra.
The Hydra. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. And even like the Pegasus and like the gods, like all this stuff could look really cool in CG.
If Danny DeVito does not play Phil,
I swear to God, we're rioting in the streets.
I will grab those bricks that are conveniently laid in the street, and I will riot with them until Danny DeVito plays Phil.
Another, what I would say, slightly underrated Disney movie, Robin Hood.
I love Robin Hood. The Fox version. I do enjoy this one.
Yeah, or what some might say, the furry version. The new version of the movie will be a musical.
Right. You ruined it for me now, Corey.
And use a live-action CG hybrid visual style to create a world where anthropomorphic anthropomorphic animals are the characters of the classic Robin Hood story. Yes, much
Oh.
like the original movie.
Oh, yeah, so they're staying with that. Oh, wow, okay.
I believe this one... Oh, wait. The report doesn't say whether the remake will use the... Okay. I was going to say... Oh, no, this one is coming to Disney+. Plus. That's what I was looking for, yeah. So you can tell it's also a little underrated, you know. It's like, we're not confident enough to put this one in the movies or whatever is going to happen in 2021.
No.
I'd watch this one. It's funny that we talk about, like, all these, like, you know, they're saying, like, Sword in the Stone, and this one's going to be a movie just on Disney+, but I have never checked out that Lady and the Tramp live-action remake. Did you ever watch that?
I sound like an idiot, but there was a Lady Tramp live remake or a live action remake.
Yes, it launched with Disney Plus.
I can't.
So
I guess
it's still there.
I guess I missed that one.
It's still there. I never watched it either.
Oh boy. Okay.
And last but not least, they're making more Lion King because you know we've talked about how much we loved the first live action Lion King.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people like the movie, and hey, to you, I just don't like. I have to say the worst part is probably the animation. It's great animation, but it doesn't work with like the talking animals. It does not work. I'm sorry.
I agree. What is this one even about? Is this like the canonical sequel? Disney is reported developing a sequel. The story will further explore the mythology, the characters, including Mufasa's origin story, moving the story forward while looking back conjures memories of The Godfather Part 2, set on the African plain with the continuation of the tradition of music that was key part of the 1994 animated classic.
Okay, well, at least it's different. I mean...
Interesting. True.
I was gonna say, like, if it's just about, like, if it's the actual, because there is a sequel. I think it was called like Simba's Pride with his daughter.
I can't wait for Lion King 1.5 live action.
Oh yes, I love that movie.
Eric Andre cashing checks. He was Timon, right? And then Seth Rogen was Pumbaa.
Oh, in the new one, I'm pretty sure Nathan Timon but in the original, I don't remember who was in the new one.
I'm pretty sure I was right. I gotta look that.
Seth Rogen was Pumbaa in the new one.
Yeah, Seth Rogen putting his footprint in the Disney universe. All I'm saying is Seth Rogen better be in Kingdom Hearts 4. But that's all the Disney movies. Now, time to wake everyone up. You know, here at Level With Me, we're the #1 video game podcast in the world. Time to get on to some actual video game news and not Disney live action movies that you're probably not going to watch ever. Hey, Microsoft, they're releasing some new video game consoles. You heard about this little thing called the Xbox? Well, apparently the Xbox Series X, you know, it comes with a 1 terabyte solid state hard drive. That's all nice and dandy. But approximately 200 gigabytes of that 1 terabyte hard drive will be used for something else. The operating systems and essential system files. Basically, the story here is that your 1 terabyte solid state drive for your Xbox Series X console will actually only have 802 gigabytes available. I think this is a little dirty.
It's like going to McDonald's, buying a quarter pounder, and saying, "Sir, this is a fifth of a pound. I want my money back."
Literally, there was another news story that was going around this week. I didn't pull it, but it was like, the new Call of Duty, like Modern Warfare, with all the update files, won't fit in a 250 gigabyte hard drive. That's just how big that game is. You literally couldn't fit, like, all these files are essentially the same size, you know, Call of Duty being a little bit bigger, but just putting that into perspective, that just means that could be like one extra game on your hard drive.
Yeah, that's sad. It basically you lost one game's worth of space just to run the console. And
like we talked about last week, if you want to buy the proprietary extra terabyte, that's another $200 or whatever it was.
Gaming, yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was at least $200.
Oh Absolutely. Boy, I don't mean to poo-poo on the Xbox Series X. More power to you, whatever console you get. I'm just like, come on, Microsoft, really? 200 gigabytes for operating system and essential system? What does that even mean? Do they elaborate? Let me actually read the article here a little bit.
I think it's not like RAM. I think it's like saying, I don't know. That's strange. Operating system. I'm trying to read.
I don't think it really explains it. Maybe Microsoft actually has to put out a statement to explain it, because I think this is relatively new. Oh no, it's from September 29th.
Well, I mean, I think even if you go on your computer and go to thing, you can kind of see like how much of your actual hardware is being used. So, but like it's nowhere near 200 gigabytes. I mean, my God,
maybe like 30.
That sounds like a better number.
That's a head scratcher. I don't know about that, but that's just a little like shady. Like they should at least be like, hey, we know it's a 1 terabyte, but it should have a little asterisk that says, hey, it's actually only 800.
Actually, a better metaphor was going to McDonald's, getting a quarter pounder, and it's only a quarter pounder if you include the bun and the condiments. That's a better, more apt comparison.
Fair enough. Because we're very light on news stories, this story is simply Cyberpunk 27 has gone gold, which means in the video game industry that it is completely done, and there is like discs being printed as we speak right now. So they are not going to delay Cyberpunk 2077 again. It is coming out on November 13th. I think that's the release date. Let me look through this article real quick.
Amazing.
19th.
Sooner or
November
later.
19th. There we go.
Nice. We're going to be getting our Keanu Reeves sooner than we thought.
Yes. Literally the announcement for this update is him holding a gold little disc. Which I don't even think they would use discs in the year 2077 personally.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's like you think it'd be like super like super like pseudoscience, like holograms or something. I don't know. It'd be funny. It'd be funny if it was like an 8-track.
Speaking of hard drive space, though, I'm gonna be quite curious to see how big those files are.
Game is,
especially since it's still coming out on the previous gen. Like the PS4 and the Xbox One. So I'm very curious. Actually, I didn't even know that, so I'm kind of excited. I might pick that up. Maybe. We'll see. But yeah, that's the story. So if you were worried that it might get delayed again, a lot of people are like, oh, all CD Projekt Red games, they get delayed a bunch of times. But no, Cyberpunk, it's coming out this year, baby. Get excited. Next up, there was a big Minecraft like live stream convention type thing. I think they have like Minecon every year, but they can't have any conventions this year, so they did like a live stream type thing. And I mean, there wasn't really anything too crazy that got announced at this convention, but there's a cool like new update that's coming to Minecraft. Minecraft Caves and Cliffs update arrives in 2021. I'm going to say I hope this is cool. I actually didn't read anything about this, but it seems interesting. I like Minecraft. Mojang has revealed Minecraft's Caves and Cliffs update, which arrives in summer 2021, and as the name suggests, it will make some big improvements to cave and underground exploration and adds more spectacular mountain generation. Mountains were the winner of the 2019 Minecon Live biome vote, and this update will make them a much bigger part of Minecraft's world. In addition to the previously mentioned mountain generation, there will also be snow traps, the charming and mischievous goats, and much more. The caves in Minecraft will soon have much more variety, with lush caves, dripstone caves, crystal geodes, and more being added, as well as different blocks being present and new mobs to encounter. Some of the new blocks include the Skulk sensor, a block that emits a redstone signal, allowing players the chance to build such amazing contraptions as a wireless redstone. There will also be a stalactite and stalagmite block. There are spiky blocks with different mechanics, such as increased fall damage if you land on them. As players are exploring the underground, there will also be the new copper ore to find, which can be used to craft a lightning rod block. Additionally, the lucky few will happen across the diamond geodes that can be used to create a telescope. I'm going to just say this. I haven't played Minecraft in probably like 2 or 3 years at this point. I'm very happy to see that Minecraft keeps getting added to, and this sounds awesome to me. I would go back to Minecraft once this update hits, because that, to me, that's my favorite part about Minecraft. It's exploring the caves, exploring the world. It's cool. I dig it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I never got into Minecraft. Just Again, I mean, it seems like one of those games I'll be all, but I just never got into it.
You never got into Minecraft, Mike? Well, this next story is not going to be for you then. And
oh my gosh, Mario was in Minecraft.
Half the internet also was pretty upset about this, but they get upset about everything. It's the internet. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, here at Level With Me podcast, we always love to keep the Nintendo news for the end of our segments or news stories here.
Yeah, save the best for last.
Exactly. And, I was joking when I'm like, oh, they didn't really announce anything crazy at this Minecon or whatever. A story which we could have talked about, which I believe happened on Tuesday, which was like, oh, hey, on Thursday, we're going to reveal the next Smash Bros. Character. And it turns out it was Steve and Alex and Zombie and Enderman from Minecraft. They're all just one character. It's just different skins. Yes, Steve is the next Super Smash Bros. DLC character. And there's quite a bit to talk about here. So he is going to be dropping on October 13th. And, he'll come in the Fighter Pass, or it'll be $5.99 USD if you just buy the pack separately with him. Personally, just to critique the character, I won't say I was excited to see this character being added. I do think it's a cool addition. I understand why they put this character into the game. Minecraft is a very, 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 very big game. It's very cultural, impactful. It's a great game. It's definitely touchstoned in video game history. I get it quite a bit. I think it's another cool connection piece here because Microsoft does own Minecraft, but now that's just another representative for them, and it does make sense. I mean, at the end of the day, most of the games on Nintendo are kind of kid focused or children focused, whatever you want to call it. So it does make sense seeing these characters be added to the game. So no pun intended, but I also dig this. I think it was cool. And if I'd get very technical and there was another live stream during the Minecon event where Sakurai actually explained how the character works. And I'm kind of enjoying the concept behind Steve or Alex or whoever you pick. Basically, all Steve's different normal attacks use the different weapons, the pickaxe or the sword or the axe, depending on what kind of direction inputs you're putting. And essentially all his weapons can break. And one of his special moves is to essentially mine or dig, which you can just do on any platform. And when you do that, you get random sources of random resources, and then you can use those to essentially craft the weapon, but just in whatever type of material you have. So, for example, there's wood, there's stone, there's iron. Each of these things, well, they haven't really explained it too much yet. I don't know if they're going to have different damage properties, but in the actual Minecraft game, you want to build to get the better types of weaponry. Eventually strive for diamond, and you can also place blocks in Minecraft, which I think is very interesting in terms of Super Smash Brothers. The blocks will disappear after a very short time, so they're not literally just a wall, or they can't block you off. There's a lot of specific things that you can't put the blocks too far off the screen or too far above the screen. You can have different types of blocks, which I think will have different durability. He seems really cool. I'm very interested to get my hands on Steve. I kind of dig this resource management character. I think it seems really fun. He also has a lot of interesting moves that haven't really, they kind of have their own unique aspects to Steve. For example, he doesn't really have a traditional jab or nair. It's kind of almost similar to Mega Man, where if you just hold A, he kind of just swings the sword in Minecraft, and if you jump, he kind of just keeps doing that swing, which is kind of interesting. And like I said, it's almost like Robin, where after a certain amount of swings, all your items will break, and then he kind of just punches, which is a weak move. And that, Sakurai and his team always do a great job making these characters very accurate to how the game they come from is, and it's very apparent. You can see that. And there's a lot of cool other things, you mine different type of resources. You get redstone. You can use the redstone on this like little mine cart that you can put down and make it go super fast, almost like Bowser Jr.'s like Koopa car. His down B is like a big block of TNT, and you can like leave a trail behind you, and there's like a little pressure plate, and if you step on the pressure plate, it initiates the TNT. But then the TNT has a lot of other properties, like if it gets hit by a fire move, it'll set off. Your opponent can step on the pressure plate and set it off, and the TNT looks really strong. I think this character looks really fun and really cool. I'm excited for Steve in Super Smash Brothers. Sorry, I kept talking, Mike. What do you think about this?
I think it's, again, I'm more amazed by just the fact that Steve's in the game. Like I think it's very symbolic of Nintendo's relationship with Microsoft. That's what I got. That's what I took away from most of it. Just because I know you obviously are more involved in Smash. You still play the game, so I can understand why you are more into the actual mechanics of how Steve plays.
Mm-hmm.
I am fascinated that like during the presentation, Sakurai didn't really go into any details of actually playing with Steve, but he did mention how, like, despite he was kind of like making jokes about saying how difficult it was because, like, Steve's obviously a very simple character, like in terms of looks. But I do like how he said that, yeah, well, we had to go and like redo like all of the levels, like
I forgot to mention that, yeah,
just so that way they work with Steve. And I'm like, okay, like, so I was more amazed just by like the feat of making Steve playable in the game. That's kind of what I liked about it.
Some other highlights for me. I kind of agree with what you're saying, like how he's such a simple character. For some reason, when I just see Steve like with the rest of the cast, like it almost looks fake to me because
it's jarring because
he's like literally just like they dropped the Steve model in Smash, and it's like, oh yeah, that's just Steve from Minecraft, like the block model, and he literally moves like how a Minecraft character moves, like blocky. Like it's very weird looking when you see it at first.
It's kind of like Game & Watch. Like when I first saw Game & Watch, I'm like, oh wow, this is strange seeing him move among all the other,
Pretty much. I am gonna throw shade and say honestly, I think the costumes are kind of bad. Personally, I wish they were more like colorful and a little more fun. I think I had something else to say about Steve. Oh, I was gonna say they kind of talked about, well, Sakurai talked about when he was explaining the moves, like they couldn't really like bring just the typical soundtrack from Minecraft because it's very relaxing type ambiotic audio. Is that the right word? I don't know. So they had to like draw music from like the different type of Minecraft games, like Minecraft Dungeons, which is more of this like Diablo action game, and Minecraft World, which I think is like a mobile Pokemon Go type thing. And there are actually some good remixes they put in there. I really liked the song that was in the actual reveal for Steve. And we didn't even talk about the reveal trailer. I think that reveal trailer is a lot of fun where like Mario gets punched into the wall and it's all like, dark.
What is going on? Who could this possibly be? Yeah. And I don't know Minecraft, so when looking back on it, you can tell that when he like went through that wall, like even like the dust was like pixelated like Minecraft.
Little bits, yeah.
So I'm sure Minecraft fans saw that immediately. I didn't see that until he came digging through the wall. So it's kind of okay.
And I actually really love, like, I'm kind of glad that they do like this stuff out of nowhere, because this was the first character in a while that we had no idea who was going to be next, and I appreciated that because I think they lost a lot of hype when they're just like, oh, the next Smash DLC is going to be an ARMS character, and we'll talk more about that later. It's like, oh, well, that loses a lot of the fun of it now that we kind of have an idea of who it's going to be. Like, this was exciting how we didn't know who this character was going to be.
Yeah, like nothing at all. Like no tips, no hints. It was just like who is possibly going to be the next character, and of course it was a curveball of Minecraft too. Like no one saw that coming.
Exactly. But yeah, I do always love third-party characters, so I thought this was really cool. The stage, it's a cool thing. I like how it changes all the time. It'll go through like the different biomes in Minecraft. I don't really have much to say on that because if you play Smash competitively, you only play on a certain amount of stages. But it looks cool. Like I said, I think there's a lot of good music tracks from the little bits I heard from the Sakurai explaining the moveset and even the initial reveal trailer. Last but not least, that's pretty much all I have to say about Steve. I wanted to talk about, lastly, the Mii costumes. So they added a couple more from Minecraft. They added the Creeper and Pig as brawler costumes, which I think are pretty funny. And then there's also diamond armor for the sword fighter, which is kind of cool. I'd say maybe one of the worst costumes of this whole like set, this wave, I would say. Then they added the Tower of Draga's Gill. I don't know who that is. I think that's like an obscure NES or SNES game. It wasn't for me. Cool costume, wasn't for me. Bomberman, that one was really cool because I really wanted Bomberman to just be a playable character in this game. I mean, I poured one out when I saw he was an assist trophy. But yeah, Bomberman's a brawler, and what's cool about Bomberman's costume too is depending on what color brawler you have set, the Bomberman actually will change color too, which is fun. And then last but not least, I literally want to pour one out right now for my boy Travis Touchdown from No More Heroes. He is sadly a sword fighter skin. Not even a music track. Not even a music track. I just want that No More Heroes. Do 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 do. Oh, it's so good. Oh. I love that. It's so sad. It's such a cool Mii skin too.
That would have been a great character to have in Smash.
I know. Considering that character has a legacy on Nintendo platforms.
Yeah, exactly. Like compared to Steve, it's like Travis deserves it more than Steve. Again, like I said, just Minecraft being in the game is just more of like it's more symbolic than anything. Kind of like how Shovel Knight's in the game. It's like, well, it's just symbolic that, oh my gosh, even Shovel Knight is in this game, you know?
I want to take a gamble and say that the rest of the picks that we're going to get...
Still.
What's that? I'm sorry, you cut off a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say, like, I was just saying how, like, it's more like how... Like, yeah, it's incredible that an indie character's in the game, but it's just, again, it's more of, like, just the fact that he's in the game is what's so great about it. That's why I look at Steve.
I agree.
Travis would have been like, no, like, this actually is a Nintendo character that deserves to be in Smash, in my opinion. And he can basically go alongside some of the edgier characters like Bayonetta, you know?
Right. It's not like Travis actually has to do like any of his very grotesque stuff. I mean, like
actually his taunt.
the worst thing he would have done is like charging his beam katana, you know?
I know. I would love it. That could be it wouldn't even have to be like an actual like move, kind of like how Cloud's down B does like the charge up for the limit. Like if that's what it did for Travis, I would laugh at that. But that could be like, I think that could be good for one of his taunts. You know,
that does make me laugh though. I do kind of love like Steve's like taunts. Like one is just he eats a pork chop, and the other ones are just things that like players will do when they play, like crouching down, like doing like a little dance with just crouching. I don't know. It just looked funny, like his taunts.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to wager a bet that I think Steve might be the last like most recent character. I think the rest of the roster is going to be more like obscure classic picks.
We'll see.
I feel like this character is coming, and I hate that this is going to be one of the slots because I really don't want this. But in my heart, I feel like one of these characters is going to be is it Gen 8 Pokemon, like the Sword and Shield? I think they're going to put a new Pokemon in this game. I don't know who it will be, but in my heart, I feel it.
It's a possibility.
I would prefer, personally anyone else. I don't really like the Pokemon characters in Smash, but that's just my opinion. They have to be there, definitely, but I don't get hype over them. I didn't get hype when it was like, oh, the last character, Incineroar. It's like, okay, whatever.
I mean, I think Incineroar is kind of cool because he's actually like a wrestler. So it kind of makes sense for him to be in Smash at the very least. Like, if they ever decide to put Machamp in the game, I really cool, Machamp's here. It makes sense. He's a fighter, you know?
I personally wanted Decidueye, but Decidueye was in Pokken instead of the other way around, but, it's whatever. But again, I don't have really a horse in the race. I never even played Sun and Moon. But that being said, there's still 4 more slots in the Fighter Pass Season 2. And yes, I look forward to giving Steve a try. I think he looks fun. Next up here, this was kind of an addition to the news here of the Steve moveset reveal. They announced all the rest of those DLC amiibo, the Fighter Pass Season 1. So they announced that Banjo-Kazooie, Byleth and Terry Bogard amiibo will be coming out in 2021. Man, that banjo one, it's looking quite
I
good.
want it so bad.
It's great.
I want it.
I love that he's standing on the jiggy. It's cool.
I need it. Corey, I need this bad.
I also love how literally Terry is like off the stand and needs like those little clear things to keep him on there. I don't know why. That just makes me laugh.
Oh yeah, the gust of wind or whatever, like Link.
Oh, that reminds me of something I gotta poo-poo on Steve for. I hate Steve's render. I made a tweet about this, but his render is so boring. It's literally just him standing there. It's like the most like it's like they couldn't have done anything else. He's just standing there. It's so boring. It's such a minor thing to nitpick, but it just really is like, oh my god, like can't wait to see that as an amiibo. Just like, yeah, here's Steve just standing here as all these other characters are doing like cool poses. Like I'm looking right now at the Joker amiibo. Granted, he doesn't have the blue flames in his render and the character select, but he's got like that cool like anime like flair, you know?
Yeah, I'll admit his I'm not a big like Joker or Persona fan, but his amiibo looks amazing with the blue fire. Really nice.
I still need to go pick mine up. Those actually came out. Hero and Joker came out last Friday, and Best Buys keep reminding me like, hey, we got your order. Come pick it up, idiot. I also appreciated in the Sakurai video where he explained how Steve worked. He's like, oh, the Fighter Pass bundles actually have huge value. If you buy the Fighter Pass 1, that costs only 2 amiibo. And if you would buy all 5 of these amiibo, it's actually less than buying both Fighter Pass. And I'm like, huh, Sakurai, you don't say. Amiibo are expensive, huh?
Now shut up and take my money.
$16 each, huh? No one ever talks about the amiibo tax when the Switch came out. It's like amiibo used to be $13. Now they're why? They don't even do anything. They sit on my shelf collecting dust.
And I love them.
Yeah, I keep pre-ordering them for some reason. Last but not least, apparently Nintendo's Jump Rope Challenge, this came out a little bit ago. It was a free, like, little exercise type game. But it will be available until further notice. I guess it was supposed to be removed on September 30th, 2020. But yeah, now they're just keeping it out there for free, which is really cool. Good job, Nintendo. I just like nice little, like, feel-good stories like this. Like, yeah, just keep it out there. You know, I'm sure there are, like, a handful of people who actually use this to, like, work out every day.
I wouldn't be surprised.
It's also fun, too, because, like, a few months ago they updated it, and you can, like, dress up the bunny as, like, different Nintendo characters, you know? But with that being said, that's literally all our news. Like I said, it's a very short news week.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping for like another Nintendo Direct because we've just been getting them randomly dropped on us. But
I mean, Nintendo didn't have definitely not a quiet week. You know, earlier they also had their Pokemon Direct, but like I mentioned last week, that does nothing for me. But it was cool announcements. Yeah,
the Smash one. So that's kind of thing.
Yeah. And
I guess I was waiting for like new games, and not like.
I look at it this way, Mike. When the waves are like low and nothing's happening, I just think, well, all that means is maybe this week it could be quite spicy and big.
True.
But with that being said, that's going to wrap up our news for this week. We're now going to move into our second segment of the podcast where we talk about what we have been watching and playing over the past week. Mike, is it okay if I go first? Because I have a pretty short list here.
By all means, go right ahead.
Okay. So I am continuing watching more Neon Genesis Evangelion, excuse me. It's still good. Still really enjoying it. I've been kind of having this like nice just strive of watching 3 episodes a week. I want to watch more. It's just... oh gosh, excuse me. I hope I don't have the Rona. But I have only been watching 3 episodes a week because I don't really want to watch this when my girlfriend's around because I'd rather watch something together with her because she doesn't really have any interest in this. So it's just hard for me to find time when I'm like by myself alone or whatever. But yeah, still digging it. I'm just slowly picking away at it. As for some movies, I watched one of the most spooky, scary, Halloween-themed movies ever, which is Adam Sandler's finest, You Don't Mess with the Zohan.
Oh my god.
Have you ever
Ugh.
watched this, Mike?
Sadly, yes, I have. Not one of his finest movies, in my opinion.
On the contrary, I thought it was quite humorous as
Really? I
being
mean,
a
it had
bad
its moments.
movie.
It had its moments, but it's definitely one of the movies where I'm like, okay, I really don't want to watch this a second time. That's kind of like, yeah. I had a few chuckles, and I thought the moral of the movie was very nice. But I mean, I just felt like, you know what, Happy Gilmore, this is not. That's all I can say.
It's funny because I forget what we were gonna watch. There was another Adam Sandler movie that I'm like, should we watch that one or should we watch Zohan? And my girlfriend's like, well, we're already on Zohan, let's just watch that. But yeah, it was one of the better ones. Like, it might have been I forget which one it was, but yeah. Anyways, you don't mess with the Zohan. I actually had to look this up because I'm like, is that actually the full name of the movie? And yes, it is all those words. You don't mess with the Zohan. That is the title of the movie. This came out a few years ago, probably like 2008, 2009. I think my girlfriend said she watched it in theaters, but I never saw it. So this is a fresh, brand new movie experience for me. And essentially the plot of this movie is Adam Sandler plays this, he's Muslim,
he's like
right? Or
Yeah,
Israeli?
I think he's Israeli. He's like a counter terrorist. That's his job.
Yeah. And he's like kind of like doing his thing, partying. He's being awesome. You know, he like high fives a like pelican in the beginning of the movie, which I thought was quite humorous. He's just like being a badass in the most silly, absurd ways. Oh my gosh, excuse me. But yeah, he like essentially he's like being charged with doing more counter-terrorist acts, but that's not really what he wants to do. He deep down in his heart, all he wants to do is cut hair. That's his goal, his dream in life. And he wants to like scheme this plan to like run away to America to start his dream, which he ends up doing. And I won't go into the movie any further than that, but I thought it was funny. I feel like I kind of agree with you where, yeah, it's like I don't need to see this probably for a while, but I honestly enjoyed this movie more than I thought I was gonna. It's very ridiculous. Also, this movie I thought was very interesting because in the beginning half of it, to me, it honestly felt a little bit like Adam Sandler was doing like an Austin Powers type thing where he's like supposed to be this like kind of badass, like counter-terrorist spy type character, but he's also kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then when he gets to New York and starts his new life, it's kind of like almost a kind of different movie, which is interesting. But
yeah, because like the whole like counter-terror thing gets dropped, and he's like, I'm just trying to make it as a hairstylist. But it's funny, Corey. Like, I think you're kind of you're undermining the main, in my opinion, one of the other main points of the movie that's kind of like not really talked about. Is like for some odd reason, like I think you touched base on this in the beginning, how he high fives a pelican. Like Adam Sandler's character, the Zohan, I'm not sure what the heck that means. He can like do anything. He's like Jesus. Like, you know,
oh
he can,
yeah,
like,
I forgot to mention that. Yeah,
like you can't beat him in a fight. He is like
he literally gets shot at and like spits the bullets out like a cartoon.
Yeah, it's like so random that like he is Jesus. Basically,
you're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, or like he can do push-ups without using his hands. That's
and that also reminds me of like in the beginning segment when he's doing his counter-terrorist activities. Also, there's this big joke because he's like Israeli or whatever. There's just like hummus everywhere and they put it on everything.
Hummus is everywhere, yeah.
I did find it quite humorous when he's like having dinner with his parents and like his dad's like talking to him and his dad like takes his glasses off and dips in the hummus and starts eating the hummus off his glasses. I'm like, what? I don't know. Some of the jokes are so dumb. They're just making me laugh.
That's one of the funny parts, I would say. That's like that's a funny part.
And yeah, but he's like fighting this rival. Is it called like the Phantom or who's that? Like that main antagonist guy?
Yeah, it's John Turturro. I forget what he's called, but the Phantom or whatever. But he's also an actual terrorist, and he's
but he
like
also
super strong.
Yeah, he also has the same powers. Literally, when Adam Sandler's character, the Zohan, confronts him for the first time, this dude's just walking on the roof, and I'm like, what kind of movie is this? Mm-hmm. I was not expecting this. Like, it's a superhero movie.
Yeah, it's really weird.
And Yeah, it's very wacky. Some might even say it's not okay today because I'm just gonna say Rob Schneider, he pretty much does a brown face character.
Oh my god.
I love Rob Schneider's character. I don't know if that's okay in 2020. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I don't find it offensive, but 20, yeah, yeah. No, in 2020, I can definitely see somebody having a problem with it.
He took his
but-
goat. His goat could get onion soup or whatever, like, fetch it, or I forget. He's really upset about it.
Oh my god.
But yeah, the movie was fine. Also, I gotta say, this was like a spoiler, but who cares? It's an Adam Sandler Zohan movie. I love the one bit around the end of the movie where they're like going to the like hacky sack or whatever they call it, like the big esports like AAA like arena for it. And then of course out of nowhere, Kevin James is just in the movie and he plays himself like Kevin James. Like it's like, oh, he's the celebrity who's here to enjoy this like very expensive show, and I just thought it was funny. And then they also have like a disco break, and Kevin James like breaks it down. It was is goofy. That's how I review this movie. It's a goofy out of 10. That's the whole vibe of it.
Yeah.
Speaking of goofy, I watched actual horror movies and Halloween-themed movies. Like one, Beetlejuice.
Oh, classic.
So when we started watching this movie, I told my girlfriend that I did see it before, but it was a while ago. But it just like all clicked in my brain. Like the second it started going. Also, Alec Baldwin looks so good in that movie. Like me and my girlfriend couldn't stand like how like in shape he is compared to like now. But yeah, like I just kept like remembering this movie beat for beat. I'm like, oh yeah, this happens. I'm like, oh yeah, this is the part where they like make their faces all horrifying. Oh yeah, it's all coming back to me.
I hate that scene. It's creepy.
Yeah, I was telling my girlfriend, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I watched this on Cartoon Network. Like they aired Beetlejuice on Cartoon Network at some point. I don't know how they got away with it, and I'm pretty sure there's like one or two F-bombs in there as well. Yeah, it's like a borderline, like, yeah, you could show that to your kids, but there's a lot of inappropriate stuff. I mean, there's literally like a whorehouse in the movie at some point, but it's a great movie. I agree. It's a classic. It's great. I love Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice himself. He's wacky.
Oh, yeah.
And the whole premise, for those of you who don't know what happens, it's basically like this couple is going away on vacation, but they're not really going away. They're having a 2-week vacation at their own home. And on their way home, this darn dog could have saved them from falling off a bridge, but that little Satan, you're just saying how dogs are always nicer than cats. Well, not this dog. He literally murdered these two people and laughs about it in his dog language. And yes, they're ghosts living in their house, and they have to kind of cope with that. And then they want to live in their house, but in the real world, people are like, oh, we need to sell this house, and people need to move in. And then the story kind of goes from there. It's a great movie. If people haven't seen Beetlejuice, go watch it. It's a great time. Also, yes, just great work with the like claymation and the horror. There, a lot of that stuff is very creepy, especially like that like room with all the people who like died. Like some of those things are kind of like disturbing.
Yeah, good old Tim Burton and his dark themes.
Yeah. But it's like a not like too serious like horror movie. Like it's kind of more just disturbing than it is like you're gonna get scared.
That's exactly the word. It's disturbing when you go back and rewatch it.
Yeah, but it was good. I enjoyed it. And then last but not least, this was like a also good like first experience horror movie. Also very on a whim. We literally just were scrolling through Netflix and I found this one. This is called 1BR. That's how you spell it. The number 1BR. And the plot of this movie is this young girl. I want to say like, I think she's like still in college. She's probably like in her early 20s or just about to turn like 20 or something. She moves to California to like start this new life. And, she's like apartment hunting and she moves into this apartment complex. And it's kind of weird because it's kind of like this enclosed apartment complex where there's like a little like pool in the middle and like a little like patio area. And when she goes there, like everyone's outside, like all the neighbors, they're like all talking to each other. They're all like grilling, having a good time. Like they all know each other. And like the person who's introducing her to the house or the apartment is like, oh, our apartment complex, we're very like a community driven apartment. Like we all know each other. So she eventually does actually get into these apartments. And she keeps like waking up at night. She's hearing like these weird noises in her wall, and she doesn't know what they are. It kind of sounds like pipes or like maybe like banging. She can't really quite tell what it is. And she ended up like sneaking her cat into the apartment. She's not allowed to have it. And she gets this note like from her door, under her door, that's like, hey, cats aren't appreciated in this building. You know, some people are allergic. And that's all the note says. And she kind of just disregards it. And then she wakes up in the middle of the night with more of the banging. And then she smells something, and there's smoke. And she goes out into her like living room and kitchen area, and she notices that the oven's on. And she opens the oven, and someone must have put her cat in the oven. And then a man comes out with a syringe full of a liquid, and then she's unconscious.
What?
Basically, I don't want to reveal too much about this movie. It was because I actually really enjoyed it, but it's a very uneasy movie. But it's kind of like the whole like thing about this community or this apartment complex is it's like this community cult type thing, and it gets like crazier from there. Like that's probably like 20 or 30 minutes into the movie, but like it gets real wild. It's a wild ride, very uncomfortable feelings. Me and my girlfriend are like, oh, we hate watching this, but we also enjoy it because it's actually really well made. And she's kind of, I don't want to give too much of it away, but it's a really good movie. It's called 1BR. If you're into like, it's not really a horror as in you're going to get scared. It's kind of that very like uneasy, almost like a thriller type vibe, but it's very well done. I really enjoyed it. It's called 1BR.
Interesting.
Yes. And that's all I watched this week. As for games, two quick ones. I've been playing more Animal Crossing. You know, now it's October. All the spooky Halloween items are in the game. That's nice. So I've been slowly collecting the spooky DIYs to get the jack-o'-lanterns and stuff like that. I growing a little pumpkin patch. I should actually check on that after the podcast. Maybe some of my pumpkins are blooming. And also, I think I brought this up last podcast, but I let one of my villagers go because they clearly wanted to. My girlfriend was also upset about that, if anyone needed an update on that. But I got a new villager, and his name, I think it's Knox, Knox, I want to say. And he's this cool night chicken. He's almost like a gladiator chicken, like he has a helmet and like a cape. And I love him. We're super happy that we got him. Because I didn't know this, but if you don't fill your home within a day, because you can go to like campsites or go to islands and there'll be a random villager. But if you don't find someone to take that house, the game after a day will just randomly put someone in there. So that's who we got. But we're quite happy with Knox, and he's really cool. And I went into his house, and I didn't get to see all his furniture because each of the different villagers have like their own personality with the items that are in their houses. I just got to see his flooring and his wallpaper, and they're really cool. His wallpaper is like a bunch of Roman columns like you'd see in like the gladiator coliseums or like a temple or something like that. So he's cool. I dig him. It's great. And then I played a little bit more of that indie game that I didn't really love called Fury Unleashed. I'm probably like done with that game. I actually like completed the first comic, which is like the first boss and major area of the world, and got to the second level, which is different. I know I was like complaining that the game doesn't have like a lot of variety, but in the second comic, it was more like a German military type thing. Like you could tell it was almost like supposed to be like a Nazi type thing, which was cool, but I think I've seen enough of that game. I'm probably not going to play any more of it. It was okay. Last but not least, though, like I mentioned up front in the podcast, I did start and play a bunch of Dead Rising 2. This is personally my favorite Dead Rising game. I've played them all. I think they peaked here. It's just so fun. For those of you who have never played a Dead Rising game, it's basically a third-person action game where anything you see is pretty much a weapon. And there are hordes and hordes of zombies. They're all the same. They die, like they all have the same health. And it's pretty much just like, all right, your job is to do these story missions, find survivors, bring them back to the safe room, maybe fight some psychopaths here and there, and just figure your way out in this giant mall / casino / It's supposed to be like a new like Vegas, because in the story like Vegas got corrupted. So this is I forget the name of this area it's supposed to be, but it's really neat. It's essentially like they elaborated on the first Dead Rising. Obviously, it's a sequel. That one was all in a mall. This one's in a casino / mall / like somewhat smaller Vegas strip. And it's great. It's super fun. The first thing I noticed when I played this game is I played this a lot on my Xbox 360, and boy, this runs really well on the PS4 now. It's super smooth, 60 frames. It's gorgeous. It's just been a joy the whole time playing it. You know, like I said, I played it a lot, so I pretty much know like everything about the game, like where hidden items are, where like in this game they added the combo weapons where you can take like 2 different items and combine them to get like these cool fantastical weapons. For example, if you take a flashlight and you take gems, you create a beam or laser sword, which is just a lightsaber, which is my favorite weapon in the game. And it's very, very good. Other examples are the main weapon that's on the cover, which is if you take a big paddle from like kayak and you take chainsaws, you get a chain paddle, which is a lot of fun. You can just mow down a bunch of zombies. Pretty much that's almost like one of the points of the game is like how do you want to kill these zombies? Like how wacky do you want to get? And there's all sorts of very fun, goofy weapons in there. And there's even just funny things you can pick up. Like there are giant like dice that you can just throw at zombies, you know. And then besides that, there's also a story, which actually isn't too bad. I want to say as playing this as an adult, I can see this and be like, okay, I get what they were going for here. It's very much supposed to be this like American or Western action movie type vibe. Because whenever Chuck defeats these psychopaths, which are these like mini boss humans that are deranged, he always has this like one-liner thing that's like Schwarzenegger would say. Like, for example, the one guy died by falling on a buzzsaw, and he said something like, you should have saw that coming, you know. There's always something like that, which I appreciate. I love that kind of, like, cheesy aspect to that. And it's great, man. Like I said, me and my girlfriend, we just pass the controller back and forth. The one thing that's kind of frustrating about this, and you see this in the first Dead Rising, I don't think it's that big of a deal in 2 or 3 and 4, because they're a little bit easier. The games get easier as they progress, but you gradually level up. You get PP from killing zombies and bringing back survivors. That's what the experience is called, PP. And as you level up, you get more health, you get more inventory slots to carry more items, you get more attack power, your character moves faster, and you also acquire moves. And these are just core skill moves that you can do. For example, you get a jump attack. So you jump and press your attack button, and you either do a kick, or depending on what weapon you have, you'll do like a little swing or something like that. That's something you have to unlock. And one of the big things that you really need for the game is a dodge roll. And we finally got the dodge roll. But you want to know what level we are that it took to get the dodge roll, which is a huge thing in this game. We were level 20. It took us 20 levels to get the dodge roll.
Interesting.
So that
sounds very late in the game, depending on how much.
Right, we've probably played at least like 6, maybe 8 hours, maybe like 5 or 6, honestly. But it's just, I honestly don't know off the top of my head if these abilities are random, like what things you unlock, because every level you get a combo card, which is just telling you how to create the different combo weapons, and then you also get sometimes a upgrade or a ability like the dodge roll or the jump attack or something like that, which again, this isn't something that's integral, but it almost seems like something that should be in the game. Like you should be able to do this roll to begin with, because our lives are going to be 10 times easier. Like the psychopaths, these are like humans with like super genetically enhanced abilities. Like there's this one dude who's just a chef who throws this frying pan at you, but for some reason, you shoot him with like 200 rounds of an LMG, and it only does like half of his health. And it's like, what the heck, bro? You threw your frying pan at me, and I took 2 pibs of health. That's just Capcom, boss logic. But it is what it is. These games can be a little bit hard, but I just love this game. I love it, the personality and the atmosphere. Going through all the casinos is great in the malls, and I also just enjoy like dressing up Chuck. That's the main character, as like anything, because you can get him like in a woman's outfit, or you can dress him up like a ninja or something like that, and whenever you're in the cutscenes, like he just wears that and everyone just plays it straight face. Like it doesn't matter what you're wearing. They'll just talk to you like Chuck's just wearing his normal like biker jacket outfit, which I think is hilarious. So yes, and of course it's like a zombie type game, so it's almost like a horror thing. That was one of the reasons I kind of want to go back and play it, but I've been really enjoying this game. It's a lot of fun playing it again. Yeah, that's all I really have to say about that. Check it out, Dead Rising. It's a great game franchise.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the zombie games that came out like during the glory days of zombie video games. I just and my brother had it. It did seem like a lot of fun. I think I was just too busy playing Left 4 Dead.
Oh yeah. Well, Left 4 Dead is a much more like this is honestly very niche, and it's kind of like the first one is very unforgiving. I'd like to go back and play Dead Rising, the original one, because I've never beat it, but it is much harder than this game. That's why I feel like I said, that I feel like they personally hit their stride with 2 because it's kind of like balanced. It's tough, but with the combo weapons they put in there, it feels like you can get by. But like in 3 and 4, in my opinion, they made them too easy. They're all fun games. They all pretty much have the same concept of like, okay, there's this story, which is pretty good. But the main thing about the gameplay is it's like, yeah, you can use anything as a weapon. Like that's kind of the fun of it.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's been my week. How about you, Mike?
Well, unfortunately, I haven't really watched much. I did watch once again, because this is all I ever watch anymore, is Below Deck, and man, some drama was going on in this show, because apparently in the most recent episode, the one character, who her name is Hannah, she's like the main. She's the chief steward, so she's like in charge of all service on the one boat, and man, apparently she's been on the show for the last 5 years. She's been on every episode of this version of Below Deck. And just recently, she was fired because she she had drugs on board. Now, it's funny because like it's not like she had she had heroin or whatever, but it was more like she had Valium, I think it's called, and I think she was using that for like her anxiety attacks or something like that, but she didn't have a prescription. But it was kind of shocking to see, like, oh my gosh, so they actually did kick off one of the recurring characters from the show just because like she didn't have a prescription for this Valium and everything. And I think there's weed on there. Oh, she had weed too. So that was kind of a shocking thing.
Whoa.
So Amanda and I are just kind of sitting back thinking, oh my gosh, like we have never seen this before on the show, where like one of the main recurring characters are actually kicked off the show. You know, for good reason. I'm not acting like, oh, it's wrong. Like yeah. Like the owners of the yacht can't be like, they don't want to be liable for like if there's an accident, and oh yeah, the crew members we hired were under the influence, and oh, there we go, then you know they lose their boat. So it all makes sense. It's just like, you know, when you're watching this show, like from like a drama standpoint, it's pretty crazy, especially because she actually lies on the show. Because like she lied and she was caught on camera. Like, you know, when you're watching this scene, she doesn't know it, but like she says, "Oh, I didn't even take any of that stuff." And then, like the producers showed a clip of the camera that's in her room, and she clearly takes one. So it's like, oh my gosh, and you're caught on tape. Like you're just in trouble now.
Oof.
Bad stuff. But yeah, so that's all I watch anymore. It's just Below Deck. Again, for those of you who don't know, it's just like one of those like reality TV shows about the crew members that work on personal yachts. I can't explain it, but it's so addicting. I can't stop watching it.
I can't wait to hear your Below Deck fanfic when this is all done.
Stay tuned. This I actually just watched today, and I'm glad I did. So earlier we were talking about Adam Sandler, and maybe you have watched this, Corey. Maybe the listeners have watched this, but there is actually a little extended. I wouldn't say extended, but there was an additional piece of footage made. Probably, I'm not even sure when it was. It was definitely well after the movie came out of Happy Gilmore, where Bob Barker is in the hospital. I think it's like a parody, but you have to watch it, Corey, if you haven't watched it already. Bob Barker is apparently in the hospital, and Adam Sandler, as Happy Gilmore, goes to the hospital to visit him, kind of like talking about how they fought each other on the golf course in the movie. And then they start fighting each other, and it is hysterical. Like you have to watch it. like just to have a bit of a spoiler. At one point, like, as he's beating him up, they're like socking each other in the face and everything. And at one point, Bob Barker gets like knocked out, and like he's hooked to one of those like heart monitors, and it like flatlines. And then the Happy's like, "Oh no, you're not getting away with that." He's grabs one of those defibrillators.
Oh
And
my
he
god.
tries to bring him back to life. And right as he's about to put the defibrillator on his chest and bring him back to life, Bob Barker's hand just reaches up and grabs Happy by the neck, just like in the movie. And he's like, "Go, go!" And he just starts beating the crap out of him again.
Oh
You
my
have to
God.
watch it. It is hysterical. Oh my god, it's short. It's like less than 5 minutes, but oh gosh, I was actually cracking up watching it. So that was probably the funniest thing I saw all week. I know it's not much of a movie. Oh gosh. Sorry, I think I got cut off there. Did you hear everything?
Oh yeah. No, I heard you.
All right, cool. You can just edit that part out.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I haven't really seen any new movies recently. I was talking to Amanda how I really want to start watching some movies that are available on Disney Plus. I just haven't seen yet. I mean, I think I did rewatch Mandalorian just to kind of get myself prepared for watching Mandalorian, just to get myself prepared for the new season, which comes out relatively soon. I don't remember the exact date, but I'm pretty pumped for that. So yeah, I'll definitely have a lot more. Definitely, as we progress with the podcast and we get to the Mandalorian coming out, I'm gonna have a lot to say about that.
Awesome. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, spoilers will be for the listeners. There will be spoilers. I'm sorry. But yeah, again, I haven't really watched much. And now as what I've been playing recently, I have been trying to get some practice in for some games that I want to be let's playing. So I did practice a little bit of Super Mario World again. Corey and I have to get back to playing that, but yeah, just trying to make sure I remember where some of the hidden secrets are and everything. Because again, I'm not rusty, but there's always these little secrets that I tend to forget and everything. So I just want to make sure I brush up on my Mario skills. I'm still playing Ocarina of Time. I actually am now at the fire temple. So that's I actually learned something recently because I've been. I think I mentioned last time I've been on a bit of I just kind of really enjoyed looking into some of the lore of Zelda and all the past games. I didn't realize that the fire temple was actually one of the on the original N64 cartridge. It's actually one of the tracks, the theme for the fire temple was actually one of the ones that had to be modified for. Did you know that before?
No, I didn't know that. Interesting.
Yeah, apparently. So apparently, in the very original, I'm sure maybe some of the old school players know this. If you go into the fire temple, you'll hear some chanting. It's just part of the ambience of the theme. And apparently, Koji Kondo used these royalty free sound bits, and it actually is of I think Muslim chanting. But it's pretty ambiguous. But people believe that it has Allah in the chanting.
Oh, whoa.
And then so later in production, they kind of stopped that, and they had to modify the fire temple theme with moans or whatever. I think they actually took some of the moans from the Shadow Temple's theme and just put it in the fire temple theme and redo it.
Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah, I never knew about that.
Yeah, you can Google it. I don't know the exact thing, but on the back of the N64 cartridge, there's a stamp, and now that'll let you know if you have an original cartridge with the new audio.
I'll have to look that up because I do have a Ocarina of Time cart.
There you go. Yeah, I don't remember what the actual stamp is, but you can look up. But I do remember enjoying it. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. One thing that was pretty interesting is I forgot that you can actually do some of these levels out of order, because I actually went to the bottom of the well, which once again relived some of the horrors of that I had to endure from that area. I hate the bottom of the well. Oh my gosh, I don't know why. It's creepy, and I hate all the invisible walls. And but then I realized, oh wait a minute, I think I'm supposed to be doing this later in the game, not before the fire temple, because you get that magnifying glass to let you see invisible objects or whatever. And I realized I mean I can use it, but I'm I don't think I use this yet. I think you use it in the Shadow Temple. But I'm technically 2 temples away. So I kind of forgot that, oh yeah, you can get this kind of early. I'm not sure if there's any benefit for that. So I just am constantly turning the lens of truth on just to see like, do all the temples have like little hidden things? I'm not quite sure yet. So it's
That is pretty cool.
interesting.
You can kind of do that a little bit in like Link to the Past. I mean, even in the first Legend of Zelda, there wasn't really an order, you know.
Yeah. The first one was rather non-linear. I mean, there was like an intended order, but I mean, I just remember in Ocarina of Time, it was pretty. It was linearly structured where you do have to go to these dungeons in this order. But then I guess just I randomly went to the bottom of the well and I just started playing through it and I realized, oh wait a minute, am I doing this too early? And I thought I was maybe going to get like stuck. But no, I completed the whole the mini dungeon all with like no errors, and I got the Lens of Truth, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if I can use this ahead of time. And so right now I'm kind of experimenting with that a little bit, but I might just dive into the Fire Temple, then to the Water Temple, and then I'll go to the Shadow Temple, and so on and so forth. So yeah, the game's going along pretty well, and it's just as fun. I think I mentioned before last week. Like I'm for some reason enjoying it more than I did last time. So
cool.
Yep. And speaking of Zelda, I actually did begin a new Let's Play for the Level With Me YouTube channel, and
Yes,
I actually, I think I mentioned this last week how I didn't want to put this as a Let's Play for the channel, but I changed my mind, and so I am doing the Legend of Zelda, the Minish cap for Level With Me, and again, this is actually a Zelda game I've been wanting to play. I haven't played it before, so that's why I thought this might be a good blind Let's Play, just because I kind of want to experience it on my own, and I want you guys to experience it with me. And episode 2 is ready. I just haven't loaded it up yet. Episode 1 actually just went live today in case you guys want to watch it. But yeah, so far I haven't gotten to the first dungeon yet, but I have to say it's pretty fun so far. I definitely like the story. I knew a lot about the story just from, again, digging into the Zelda lore that I've been doing like for the last like month. But yeah, playing it for myself, it's a very well structured game, and it actually looks really good for a GBA game. Like I really do appreciate the way the game looks. I was surprised by the controls because I forgot that this is actually a game where the R trigger on like your Game Boy Advance is like the action button. Like that's the button you press to like talk to people or pick up things. Like the A and B,
that's
like the
weird.
the A and B button are mapped to your sword and shield. So I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I just didn't realize like the R trigger is how you like.
I mean, there's literally not that many buttons on a GBA. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, because I was kind of getting vibes from Link's Awakening, how constantly pressing the start button to like switch between your A and B slots for your weapons and swords and everything. So I guess because this utilizes the triggers, okay, cool, you have 2 more buttons to do that kind of stuff. But
You still there, Mike?
this game is that the Minish are actually like these like little mouse people that live all throughout Hyrule, but they're really small, and so they're kind of like I think we saw like it's like in movies and TV shows, like the little like gnomes, I guess, that live in people's houses and like I don't know, like, so this is kind of like, yeah, these little like mouse gnome people like live all throughout Hyrule, and they're hidden in like pottery, like little pots in people's gardens, or hiding up in the banisters in someone's house. They're all over the place, but they're magical, and they only appear to children, so adults can't see them. And in this game, you are playing as like a 10-year-old Link, so Link can see the Minish, but they're so small that he has to actually use the Minish cap that he has with him, and then he can shrink down to the size of a Minish, and then it basically opens up the entire map. So it's kind of cool. Because like I thought at first that the map of Hyrule was rather small, kind of like compact, like the map in Link's Awakening, but definitely more compact than that one. I felt the map was so compact, and I traversed like a third of it, already in the game. And I haven't even gotten to the first dungeon yet, and then realizing, okay, wow, with this like shrinking ability of the Minish, like it basically doubles all of the worlds of the map. Because everywhere I've gone to so far, I realized, oh, I can shrink, and it just expands the level greatly with all these like little like like if you see like a tree stump, oh that might be like a cave, as opposed to me thinking it's just a tree stump now. So it really opens the game up a lot, and I think it's pretty cool. Again, I'm sure by next week I'll have more of the game under my belt, have more episodes up ready for YouTube, and I'll have more comments to make on the actual progression and because I actually don't really know much about this game's dungeons and upgrades and other weapons that Link will acquire. So I'm definitely looking forward to it, and I'm enjoying it so far.
I'm just looking at like screenshots of the game, and it's really cool looking. I'm glad to hear you're enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those GBA games that kind of just. I'm sure I would have loved it. The same goes for Link's Awakening. I didn't have the Game Boy game when I was little, but I'm sure if I did, I would have loved it. And that's like one of those games I think would have made me a Zelda fan, early on, because I was a late bloomer. And the very first game I ever played was Twilight Princess.
Would you say that this game is kind of like a Link's Awakening?
Yeah, I definitely get a lot of vibes to it. I mean, like, the Oracle games, Oracle of Ages and Seasons, definitely are like an upgraded version of Link's Awakening. And then I would say this game came out and it has a lot of the same mechanics of like those 2D GBA Game Boy Zelda games. But I think, this being a Game Boy Advance Zelda game, they definitely have made a lot of improvements. But there definitely are a lot of similarities, like in structure so far. But it seems like they're utilizing the better technology, and I'm assuming the 2 extra trigger buttons, they're going to utilize those to make it a better experience.
I will say I haven't had a chance yet to watch your Let's Play, but I would like to.
How could you?
But I do want to say I think the sprite work in this game is fantastic. It's very beautiful.
It is, and I forgot to mention, like, it's not only is it really good sprite work because you're playing the game, but I didn't realize that they added little sound effects. Like again, like I look back at Link's Awakening, it's kind of just all the little beeps and boops and everything, and like it's all 8-bit sound effects. But in this game, like if a character talks, it's just like the text box coming up. But like if a character talks, you hear like little like grunts, like or like Zelda goes hi. So like they have all these like little like sound clips of people talking, and it actually makes a big difference. It kind of makes the game feel more alive. Like these characters are actually talking to you.
Yeah, I agree.
And, yeah, it's just those little touches that I enjoy.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear you're enjoying it.
Thank you. But yeah, unfortunately, that's all I have for now. I actually am meaning. I still haven't picked up the 3D All Stars. I ordered it on Amazon, and it never showed up.
Oh yes, we had that discussion last week.
Yeah. So like, again, I got my refund. I'm just gonna go. Oh, for those of you out there, apparently Walmart has the game for $50, not $60. So if you haven't picked it up,
don't buy from the scalpers. There's still time.
Yeah. Apparently, I also heard there was a big restock of the game. So supposedly there's plenty of them out there. So you have no excuse to get it now, because in March you might not be so lucky.
I'm kind of kicking myself a little bit. I kind of wanted to check out that Super Mario 35, like that multiplayer.
Oh yeah.
Because that came out I think last Thursday or Friday. I should give that a download and give it a try.
It looks interesting with like how when someone defeats like a level or an enemy, it like sends the enemy to your screen. That's probably like the most interesting part of the game. But I don't know. Like, I mean, I love the original Super Mario Brothers, but I really can't see how much I'm playing this game. I don't know why.
No, I understand it. It is a little weird. I also think it's just weird that it's like, oh, hey, and this game also is not going to be available forever. It's like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I think we mentioned this before on the podcast. Like, I don't understand why they have this limited time thing. Like,
yeah,
why do this to yourself? Why not just let even on the again we said this before, even on the not the virtual console, just the online shop. Why would you remove
the eShop? Yeah,
why? But I don't know. I can't.
I give you a shrug.
Yeah, beats the heck out of me.
But with that being said, that's going to wrap up your week. Now we're going to move on to questions. Mike, do we have any questions this week?
Actually, yes, we do. Let me pull them up right now for us.
That's okay, because I want to inform all the listeners, if y'all want to send us a question, there are two ways to do that. So you can, one, send us an email at levelwithmepodcast@gmail.com, or you can go to the Level With Me Podcast Instagram account. That's Level With Me Podcast. That has the underscores or scrolls underneath each word. Is that correct? Like Level With Me Podcast, or is it all one word?
Oh, I'm sorry. You mean for Instagram? Yeah. At all of the spaces, they're underscores.
Okay. So yeah, if you want to go to the account, and then on Monday, like in the middle of the day, like at 12 p.m. Eastern time or something like that, we'll put up a little questionnaire, and if we pick your question, we'll give you a shout out live on the podcast, like we're going to do right now.
Yeah. So why wouldn't you guys want to shout out? Anyway, so we have two questions. Our first question actually comes from someone that you're probably very familiar with, Corey. A little lady called Cats Are Perfect.
Oh boy.
At the end. Yes.
I know her.
And her question is, I have to admit, this is actually a really good question, so props to Megan. I'm sorry. If we could only play one game for the rest of our lives, what would it be?
Oh, God.
I know. I've read that, and I'm just like, God, it's a good question. It's a hard
question.
That's so hard. I might need time to think about this one. I have a hunch, but because it's kind of like when people say, "Oh, well, what's your favorite game of all time?" But it's like, I don't think it is. I don't think that's the answer.
Yeah, honestly, for me, it's something with a lot of replayability. Okay, so I have 3 right now that I'm going to say. I should pick one, though. That's not fair if I say 3. So I'm going to say my 3. I'm going to either pick Breath of the Wild, Fallout 3. Actually, I'm going to say Fallout New Vegas. So Breath of the Wild, Fallout New Vegas, or Minecraft was my other one. Because I think those are evergreen games. You can always get a lot. Actually, I'm going to say Fallout 4. I did like Fallout 4 quite a bit. Fallout 3 or New Vegas is I think a better game with the story, but I kind of enjoyed Fallout 4. I think personally, I might even say Dark Souls. I can always play Dark Souls because you can always play you can use different weapons. Oh man, this is tough. I even was gonna say Smash because you can unlock all the different spirits and stuff like that. Oh man, yeah, this is a hard one.
You gotta have an answer, Corey.
I'm gonna go. I'm going to agree with what you said. This isn't personally my favorite game, but I think to always have a lot of different variety and something that I can always keep playing for a long time. This is tough. Crap. It's tough because I want to say Zelda, but then I'm but if you keep playing it forever, you're gonna eventually do all the shrines. You're gonna eventually find all the Korok seeds.
Yeah, it's will it get boring eventually? That's that.
I almost want to say Minecraft because it is technically different all the time, but not what you're doing is different. When I play Minecraft, I do the same thing. I build a little house. I try to get diamond. I get diamond. I go to the Nether. And then I pretty much stop playing after I get to the Nether, even though there's technically an end game. I want to almost say Fallout, but the thing about Fallout is it's just the gameplay doesn't change too much besides you just get different weapons, but we kind of just are upgrading the same weapons. Oh, man. Crap. This is tricky. I feel like there's another game that I'm probably not even thinking of, too. That's a great question. Oh, my gosh.
It's tough. It really is. Because you feel like once you have your answer, there's definitely not another game.
You know what? I'm going to say the one game that I did mention. I'm going to say Dark Souls because I feel like with Dark Souls, even though you're going to, the bosses don't change or anything like that or the world, but with every weapon you have, they're so like drastically different. Like there are a lot of weapons in that game that I still haven't used, and every time I go back to play the original Dark Souls, I always still have a great time like going through the whole world, because it's kind of like a Metroidvania a little bit. Not in a sense that there are just walls that you can't surpass, but it's kind of like you can go whatever route you want to go. And yeah, there are just so many different types of weapons that I have never touched that I think Dark Souls might be my answer, because I could just see myself just trying every weapon. I could even go bare-fisted, just punch souls, you know? So I'll say Dark Souls. There you go. We got there. We got there.
So
I gave you a lot of time, Mike.
All right, so I was immediately trying to think of like some of those games from the Super Nintendo, and believe me, these are games I can't play. But I have to say, like when it comes to replayability, though, more modern games definitely they fit the bill better, because these games have many ways of being played differently, like the Fallout games or the Elder Scrolls, like those kind of games. And I do agree, like, yeah, even though eventually if you play it for the rest of your life, like you'll know what everything is. But then again, those kind of games always can be played multiple times for different replayability. You can always try it. Well, let me try a different kind of class. Let me just do a different personality for my character. Like, you know, in Fallout, you can choose I'm going to be a bad boy and just do a bunch of bad things, get bad karma.
True.
Like, so you know, it's the replayability that I think is the important thing for a game that you can play for the rest of your life. So I'm definitely going to hold that true, that it's not going to be my favorite game of all time, but it has to be a game that I can just keep playing forever. As in, like, I play it once, maybe put it down for a little bit, then replay it and try it a different way. And to be fair, I think you hit it. Like, it has to be a game like that you mentioned. Like, even Dark Souls is another good example. I'm probably gonna have to go with Breath of the Wild. Like, yeah. Even though, and it's funny, I got into a discussion recently that's one of those games that I just keep enjoying all of the Zelda games as they came out. Granted, again, I'm a late bloomer. I played Twilight Princess first, so I did go back and play some of the older ones. But then I remembered, like, I was really pumped for the newer ones, the newer Zelda games. So when Zelda Skyward Sword came out, I thought, my God, this game's even better than Twilight Princess. It was just, I love the game so much. And then, granted, it's only like 2 games, but then fast forward to 2017 and Breath of the Wild came out, and this is not only just a great Zelda game, but like because it has that open world aspect and just the replayability is there. Like, I mean, you know, we can talk about Breath of the Wild forever, but I mean, like that is a game that takes so much time to beat. Because I'm also one of those guys. I'm so meticulous with these kind of games. Like, I will go everywhere in every nook and cranny, and I know it's going to take me forever to find all the Korok seeds and do. I still haven't gotten all the shrines yet, so I definitely think that's one of those games that I can play for the rest of my life, because I'll also be able to replay it in different ways. Like, because on my very first play of the game, most people went right to the Zora Divine Beast. But then, obviously, on my second playthrough, I went right for the Rito Divine Beast because I wanted Rivali's Gale, so I could break the game.
That is a good power up. Yep.
Yeah.
But you could even just try to, you know, do the speed run route and just run to Calamity Ganon.
I do want to give it a shot. Oh, by the way, did you know that the world record is like under 30?
Yeah. It's wild.
If you guys haven't seen it, go watch like the world record for the speed run of Breath of the Wild is insane. It is actually really insane.
Breath of the Wild is a very good pick too. Yeah. Plus, even for me, I've never played any of the DLC, so that's like even more content that I could play through.
That's true.
Know?
I feel like I should have done it. I should have at least gotten like the Master of the Sword or whatever that was. But like, I heard the DLC packs are still worth getting. So yeah, again, it's tough, but I would say that's definitely one of these great games so much, and I can definitely see myself replaying it for the rest of my life. So that's where it's like, if I had to pick one game, and again, both you and I probably need more time to think about this, but I would think the best answers we can come up with are Dark Souls and Breath of the Wild. So
Yeah.
Whew,
And
hard.
that is a great answer. Like, even thinking about it now, I'm like, no, I could pick Breath of the Wild because, like, thinking about it now, like, there are a lot of areas of that map that I never really explored that much, you know?
Yeah, you can even like, kind of like change it up. You can say, I do want to get like the Goron one first. You know, kind of they take that challenge of going up Death Mountain first. You know, I don't know. I think that'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Like, but anyway, so cats are perfect, or Megan. Great question. My
Thank you,
gosh.
Megan.
And we have one more question. As we all know, this would not be the Level Whippy podcast without a question from our good friend Owen Reese.
Shout outs to our boy Owen Reese.
And this is again great question.
Okay.
God, I don't know how they come up with these questions. Owen asks, "What game do we want to see remastered the most?"
Ooh, that's a great one.
I know. I can't. I'm happy for getting these questions, but man, they're just so good. I don't know what to say. Oh man.
All right. I got a good answer for this one. This is going to be completely out of nowhere. I would love it, and I hope this bias doesn't set in, but I think it'd be rad if they did like some sort of like HD remaster / like maybe add more content to it of the original Super Mario RPG.
Ooh, that would be interesting.
And maybe, I'm not just doing this for personal wants, but maybe that could be a nice little segue for, hey, putting Geno in Smash. Just saying. Yeah. But let's not talk about that because that's just what Corey wants. I'm just going to say Super Mario RPG, hell of a RPG, really good game. Very, very good.
Yeah. Only limited by the console itself, I think. Like, that's definitely a game that could be remastered and redone, and I think today's day and age.
I feel like I have another answer for this, but I mean, I already answered, so if you want to go.
But that is a good one, though. I think that will be great. Like, can you just imagine with like the turn-based combat and like Mario Odyssey graphics? Yeah.
If they put Geno in Smash, his victory theme better be like the little win. I love that game.
Yeah, it's very good. Smithy. I want Smithy in Smash. And Geno. Oh, man.
Is Smithy the Wario looking guy? I forget.
No, that was Booster. Yeah, he was in
right
too. There was Booster, and then there was all of the other like weapon villains. There was
I like the Power Ranger. Were they the Axe? I forget what they were called. The Axe Gang. What were they called? Oh my god! Now I gotta look.
I think they were the
Mario RPG villains.
There was a bow. There was like a bow guy. There was the one guy.
Axum Rangers. Here they are.
Oh, they are the X. Oh man,
yeah, and they are like Power Rangers. There's 5 of them, and they're all different like colors.
That's pretty cool.
Also, I just love how the boss is a big sword. It's literally just a sword. Oh, and this guy, Croco. God, this game's so good.
I know.
This
guys,
we gotta let's play this game at some point.
That actually is a great idea. Oh my gosh.
We'll put that down with all the other 60 games we said we should let's play.
But that is, I would say, definitely a good answer for a remaster. Yes, that game could definitely. Oh my gosh, big time. Okay. Oh, this is gonna be hard for me to come up with one. All right, here's one. So, I was leaning more towards Super Mario 64 because a lot of people were hoping it was going to be remastered for the 3D collection. I'm not saying I'm not going to buy the collection because no. I'm just saying a lot of us were looking forward to that, seeing like Mario Odyssey graphics for the N64 version of the game. Fix some of the little fix the camera, fix everything about the game that was by the console itself, because obviously the game was really good. So all of the limitations were just based on the technology of the time. So 64 was one of the games that I thought, wow, that is definitely the game that we definitely could use a remaster for, especially because we were so hyped for one and we didn't get it. But I'm going to go one step further and say I want to see Donkey Kong 64 remastered for the Switch.
Give him the gun.
Yeah, I want that shotgun. For many reasons. For one, I love the characters. I want to see Lanky Kong and Chunky Kong and Tiny Kong back in the game. I want to see, and even at the time of that game coming out, the visuals of the game, again, the N64 was like the full front for polygon graphics, but like it looked great for the time. I want to see how these characters look with like their rendered models. I think and all the characters in that game are so good, and the limitations of that game, I truly do believe, come down to restrictions of the hardware. For when the game chugged and it had so much slowdown because there's just so much going on in that game. I want to see I want them to fix the way the game runs. That way, there's no slowdown. One of the other biggest problems was the tag barrel system. It was very tedious having to always go back to like this checkpoint to change characters. So maybe they could modify it to be, okay, you guys can change your characters at any time. That'd be kind of interesting. I think initially they actually wanted you to be able to do that, but they said there was like a hardware limitation of or no, people said like there should have just been like the warp barrel should have just been like an item in the party. That way you can just change whenever you want to. But so that could be an obvious improvement. And definitely fix some of the broken bonus games because they're just complete bullcrap. But the game itself is so fun. I think it could definitely benefit from being modernized and brought into the 2020 standards. New visuals. Keep the soundtrack, or if they want, I want you to rehire Grant Kirkhope and make him redo the soundtrack and do what they did with Sonic CD. I just played that recently on Level With Me, where you can choose the soundtracks. Let me choose the original N64 soundtrack or the modern version or the redone version by Grant Kirkhope. I would love that so much. That is my vote. Donkey Kong 64, so it can just be made perfect, I guess.
Nintendo, I know you're listening to this podcast, and you don't need to hire Grant Kirkhope. Just hire me. I already got my the lyrics right here for the Donkey Kong rap version 2.
Here we go.
My name's DK, and I'm here to say I eat bananas in a funky way. That's all I got right now.
I was trying to see where you're going to go with this. All right, now I'm disappointed. Oh man!
Thank you, Owen Reese.
Owen, thank you so much, man. As always,
forever. Thank you. Yes.
Good questions.
Oh yes, and thank you, Cats Are Perfect. Great questions.
Oh yes.
That is going to do it for the podcast. Our brains are fried from having to think about these difficult questions.
Yeah, they were brain teasers to say the very least. Oof.
If you would like to follow myself, you can do so. I am at GameBroCorey on the Instagram, on the Twitter, and most importantly, the Twitch.tv. I don't know when I'll be streaming again. I kind of want to check out. I've been thinking about playing more Fall Guys. The new season starts, I believe, on Thursday. So I might back on that grind. And of course, I continue to play Smash over on Twitch.tv. I definitely want to check out Steve when he drops. GameBroCorey. Mike, what about you?
Yeah, I definitely want to thank you guys for joining us again. If you want to go catch up with some more of my work specifically, you can find me on YouTube and Instagram. That's The Collector's Vault. Again, we'll have all of our stuff down below. If you guys like collectibles, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and all that stuff, collectible retro video games, you can always come and talk to us. And Corey too. Corey has knowledge about this stuff too. Don't make it all about me. But please follow us, share us with your friends. We want to grow the community as much as possible. It's a lot of fun providing laughter and joy and even just knowledge to you guys. I think we do. We laugh a lot here, but I think we do learn a lot as well. So,
I also
please.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, just please share the channel, share the podcast around with your friends. Spread the love.
I agree, and I do just want to say thank you, everyone. I noticed we just hit 20 subscribers on the YouTube channel. That's small steps, but big.
It's
thank you.
small, but it's still a milestone. So.
But yes, with that being said, that is going to wrap up this here Level With Me podcast. Like Mike said, don't forget to check out our stuff, subscribe, and yeah, guess you'll see us next week, guys. Take care.
Yep. Don't forget to bring the meatball pizza, guys.
Oh, darn. I knew I forgot something. Let's just restart the podcast.
All right. Podcast is ruined.